Good morning, everyone. Futures flat to start the day here. The NQ just barely in negative territory, down 0.4. Likewise with the ES flat, also up down 0.04 with the Dow as well. Flat, so is the Russell. They're all in flat territory, but they're all hanging out near all-time highs. And speaking of all-time highs, let's have a look at this chart. Bitcoin breaking through $100,000 overnight, right now at 103,000 and change. We got that $100,000 break that some people were expecting that possibly after the new year, maybe into inauguration. Lots to talk about today at Dare. We've got Taiwan Semi, Nvidia, they're striking a deal for a plant out in Arizona. Tesla as well, getting multiple upgrades today from Bank of America, and Hood and SoFi also in focus.
And also jobless claims. We do some numbers I want to go over super quickly. So initial jobless claims higher than expected. 224,000 compared to the previous print of 213,000 and the consensus of 215,000. So higher than expected jobless claims number here. We also did get balance of trade here. So it's coming in negative 73.8 billion. That is slightly higher than the previous print of negative 83.8 billion, which is actually a revision here. And it's also a little bit higher than the consensus of negative 75 billion. So that is the balance of trade. And again, initial jobless higher than expected today, guys. Should be a pretty interesting day, though, as Sharif alluded to. Lots to talk about. Robinhood's Investor Day, very well received. If you don't recall, Vlad Tenev, the CEO, did mention the company is keenly looking into the sports betting space. So DraftKings moved down on that. Looks like Robinhood's really trying to take over the entire market. And some earnings plays to talk about as well, guys. SentinelOne, the cybersecurity company, reporting yesterday worse than expected, down big here, double digits, 14 and change in the pre-market. American Eagle kind of looking the same, 14 and change in negative territory as well, as they also reported. Dollar General did report as well, getting a light boost, let's say 2% or so right now. We'll have to see how this one trades after the bell. Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning. Apparently, American Eagle should have announced that they were adding Bitcoin, or already own Bitcoin. Because adding it now, I guess, wouldn't be the same. That probably wouldn't save their earnings. But obviously, look, 100,000. What was it? 940. I don't know, 940 something. We broke the 100,000 mark on BTC. I know a lot of you had an impromptu watch party there last night as the stream got left on, but. Obviously a lot of fun, and it's going to have a host of names crypto-related that are going to end up leading the charge today. You've got Coinbase continuing its breakout. It's got a monster level up there at 350. I already mentioned Robinhood, which is also crypto-adjacent, and that's making a fresh break past some 52-week highs for continuation. You're going to have iBit itself, which we should be concerned with. You're going to have MSTR, which I don't think should surprise anybody, is gapping higher as well. So MSTR looking like it wants to fill in a little bit more. The gap could break a 450 mark today. There's a lot to watch, but don't sleep on Tesla, because Tesla is back at, well, it was above 360 when we started the show, and it's now at 359.90. But the Tesla right back, it's got a triple top on the daily 52-week highs. And when the market's breaking highs every other day, there's a lot to watch. Double it up with crypto. It's going to be a busy day today. And if you don't have something crypto-related on your watch today, I don't know what you're doing. Whether it's iBit, whether it's Coin, whether it's MSTR, pick your poison. But there's going to be volatility, no question.
What is MSTR? Yeah, 443. I just heard, I cannot make this up. Worksport is going to be adding Bitcoin to their balance sheet, apparently.
Of course.
So. Not doing anything right now, but there's just giving you guys an update here. Worksport just announced here that they're adding Bitcoin. Just hearing it from the Benzinga Pro platform there as well. We talk about Bitcoins, we talk about mining names and all that kind of stuff. And I always think about what's going to be powering this next little wave of AI and this current wave of AI that we have right here. We had SMR, we made money on it yesterday, or was it yesterday or the day before? But it's still falling into these levels that I think are good buy spots here. So that's 23, basically, 20, 2250, 23. I like the drop down. We know it has that potential to get going again. I like SMR. And with breaking news, it's back over to Adara.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt here, guys. I just really wanted to bring this to everyone's attention. Intel with a volume pop here, up about 1% right now. They have announced that Eric Maurice, who is the former president and CEO of ASML, and Steve Sanghi, who is the interim CEO of Microchip Technology, are both appointed to the company's board of directors. We know yesterday at the UBS conference, the company mentioned they want to be having some people involved who have experience in this space. These two clearly do. So again, Eric Maurice and Steve Sanghi, both who have CEO level experience at major chip companies, named to Intel's board. Back to you guys. Sorry for the interruption.
23. All right, yeah. So no, that's interesting. I mean, we talked about what we were trying to wait to see if there was going to be any sort of movement on Gelsinger being gone, and it obviously went the other way on that news, which maybe was a bad thing. I don't know. But there it is. If you come over to the daily chart here, I mean, this is just, there's that bump up that we sort of got me excited that Intel was potentially going to take out sort of these highs and get going on news that we've waited for. I mean, this level here, I mean, some people added to the board, whatever, it's nice, it's good, right? I mean, that maybe eventually one of them could become the CEO, or good to have good support down there. I don't know nothing about those guys from ASML, but obviously a decent company in the right space. But $22 here for Intel. So I might even just now put this on my radar here. Feel like it's fine. I'd rather be short Intel, but this 22 area seems like a decent support spot if you are long. But I like, again, if SMR can fall off the open, we had it fall yesterday, and we didn't think we would get some of the prices that we wound up getting. But then it just kept on going down, which is why I think it was this day. It was this day. I think it was 2 days ago, where we had SMR there, and then we got out, and then it kept falling. Yeah, so same thing yesterday, where we sort of started up high, came into low. So if that happens again today on New Scale, then those are levels that I like. So, it doesn't go back that far, I guess. So it's on the daily. It just goes back into here, into this 2250 or so area for New Scale. So I'm gonna actually write that down and consider an Intel play there. Nvidia is still near that 150. Like I'm not trying to hate on Nvidia either. You know.
I don't know. Like if the market really liked a couple of board appointments for Intel, you'd have to think that it would be doing a little bit more volume pre-market. Like, I mean, this is the level that it should be. Ideally, if you're going to run, this would be the level that you're running from, like 21.5, 22. But volume's still under 1 million shares, even with that spike. Like, you can tell, like, nothing happening. A little bit of a bounce. I mean, it's 1%. I can't say it's nothing when it's a 1% move, but the stock's been bleeding so much that 1% on this is no longer all that big of a deal if it's going to have a catalyst behind it. Probably needs to get past 2280. Like, if it gets up here and doesn't revert, maybe that's going to be more interesting. I just feel like if we're looking at the chips today, I don't want to. You said don't sleep on Nvidia. We'll look at Nvidia. No questions asked about it, because it was looking so great yesterday and close to the 150. But AMD finally, we talked about AMD closing above this little channel down and looking for longs after that. Well, you got 142. 141 half to 142 support today. It's like 3 days in a row off of this level now for AMD, and also a potential breakout through the quarter mark here as well. And then the 145. So, Nvidia had a great day yesterday. AMD had a good support day. I think it's consolidating for a bit of a breakout. Intel might go. I don't want to take anything away from them, but it would be the number 3 chip name I'd be looking for. Actually, you could make an argument that Marvell, for a continuation, could be just as good of an opportunity for traders holding on to. It had a huge run, obviously, Marvell, all-time highs, and then dipped into 115 right at about lunchtime. I like that for a support level on Marvell. You have your pick for chip names, quality chip names for some long setups today without having to squeeze Intel in there.
All right, let's have a look at some of the earnings names from earlier today. We're talking about SentinelOne, American Eagle as well, also reported. Let's have a look at SentinelOne, how they did. Big drop here in the pre-market. The cybersecurity name kind of taken after Zscaler. They're both selling off aggressively after earnings on a lighter than expected report. Let's talk about some of the numbers that they did report yesterday afternoon. So they reported break-even EPS, basically basically missing on the earnings side of things. They did post some revenue growth, boosting revenue from about $165 million last year on this quarter up to about $210 million. But it does seem like it was a light guide, and that's why we're selling off aggressively here, Adair.
Yeah, I remember that. What also there? Yeah, those numbers I remember were not super well received. I also believe the EPS number I know from I was reading as well. But I want to talk about Five Below because that's one earnings report here. Not a ton of free market volume, about 100,000 shares right now. But this is what Neil and I talked about because they had a massive move to the upside. They announced their new CEO, Winnie Park, who is actually also has worked as the CEO of Forever 21. So it seems like a great step for the company. Similar spaces. Some of the lower end of their guidance missed estimates a little bit here for Q4 2024, but they did beat here for adjusted earnings. 42 cents versus 17 cents expected. Sales, 843.7 mil versus 798.5 mil. So good report here for FIVE. More than 5 above right now, guys.
All right. Do we have Luis? All right. Luis Barbado from Barcelona, Spain, the trading office, the real trading office out in Barcelona. Luis, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. How are you? Nice to say hi to you.
Yes, so we haven't spoken in a while, but you and I, we have a lot of similarities. I love these small cap gappers. That's what you guys focus on over there at the Academia Day Trading in Barcelona. So let's talk about RKDA, Luis, because that's the #1 gapper that I see here up on my list. Up a light 160% and taking out some local highs that we had in late October above that 5.25 area. What's your look on this one, Luis?
Yeah, absolutely. You're right. This is one of the main watch today. We have a lot of runners today. We have been seeing for the last 2-3 days some runners that we believe that ignite this running cycle of the market. So it's very, very important for us to check these values in these stocks like RKDA. As you say, it's moving up 160%. It's moving a lot of volume. This is something you have to really take care of it. It's a 1.3 volume float, and it has already traded 10 million. So it has rotated the float already like 6 or 7 times, which is very, very tricky for a short. If you're looking for shorts in this kind of a stock with rotation float, low float, big news, trading always above resistance, just be very patient for a short. Wait until the substance and the volume disappear.
Let's talk about entering this one as a long, Luis, because right now what I'm seeing on the 5-minute chart is a bull flag continuation. You had that initial move up from around 275, got into that $5 area, kind of stalled out there a bit for about 10-15 minutes. Then you got the continuation. Now we've got a bit more of a consolidation area here between 7 and 8. How do you feel about the continuation bull flags, Luis? The first bull flag usually has a high accuracy rate. The second one, it drops off. And then third, we're talking about that 25-30% continuation. What's your look on that?
Yeah, it's very important that it holds about this VWAP, a little bit below $7 is the VWAP right now, or holds above the support of $7. If it holds above this support and above the VWAP, we might see another leg up, probably. It is very likely that we see a last squeeze on the short side, and then we will see some fade during the day. I don't think let me see the statistics. We don't have a lot of runners in this stock. We only have one runner from 2020. And it closed red. So it's not that we have a lot of data to rely on to short this stock. So we will base more the decision on some support resistance. And when we see volume losing power and losing the VWAP, we will look for shorts. Do not anticipate in this kind of stock the short side on the front side. You have to wait for confirmations.
Oh, the next one here, Luis, PRFX, another triple-digit winner right now, up about 100% or so. This one, Luis, a little different. We didn't get the volume spike in the pre-market like with the other one. This one was an earnings, looks like an earnings play yesterday from 4 o'clock, but a good continuation this morning. It looks like we had some resistance here, Luis, at around 450, 475, trading below the volume-weighted average price right now. What's your look?
Yeah, this is a different stock. As I said before, we have 3 days ago, 3 days ago, a lot of runners igniting, lighting up the market for the runner cycle. This stock is Israeli company, which is very important. You really have to be aware that this is an Israeli company or Chinese company, which are very more manipulative, or I don't know how you call it in English. It's more easy to manipulate. The float is also very, very low. Listen, this is 0.5 million shares float only. So it's true that it's weak already. It's trading below VWAP. So no matter if it's low float and Israeli company, which was very tricky on the short side, we have some confirmation already. So we will wait a push around $6 to start the short side. Always be aware that it's only 0.5 million shares float, and it has already traded 8 millions. It's quite crazy, right? It rotates 20 times the whole company already.
I'm going to give you one more, Luis. I'll get your opinion on this one. BJDX, another one, aggressively up on the day, about 75% or so. It touched about 9.5 here in the pre-market. This one as well, Luis, breaking down below the volume-weighted average price, a little bit below 7. It does seem like it might have some support here from earlier in the morning at around 6 to 6.5. What's your look?
Yeah, you're right. It's 0.5 million shares stock, this one. It's 75% up right now, in 0.5 million. Let's see, we see some sickness as well, some weakness in this stock. We will go short against the VWAP on $7.2.
Okay, Luis Barbado, everyone from Barcelona, Spain, at the Real Trading office out there. Thanks so much for being on this morning.
Thank you very much.
Always good to have Luis back on there. I can tell you this much. The weather's probably a heck of a lot nicer in Barcelona than it is here. I know it always is, except for maybe like 1 or 2 months out of the year when it's great.
I feel like a lot of things are nicer in Barcelona.
Yeah, the food is probably nicer.
Yeah, it's probably a lot.
A few other things that I won't get into.
Even other things.
Yeah, obviously some other things too. No, but I think he's sort of dead on. A lot of people in our chat have been talking about PRFX, obviously, right? Like I've seen, anytime you're doing 8 million volume and you have a gap up like this, it's going to be on everyone's radar, but it is on the backside. There's a term that we use around here, like the repeat offender, reverse split dump, and then pop and dump, and then reverse split dump, and then reverse split dump. So I think it's in those lines, and when you see that kind of a pullback, obviously not all traders are going to be shorting or trading to the short side on these types of names, and it is a bit of a dangerous game. But if it never does climb back and hold above $6, I think that's one thing that you're going to have to watch here today. The other thing that always concerns me too, sometimes about these, is if you get a day where there's too much strength in a lot of other exciting places, like a ton of volume in crypto, maybe a ton of volume in some of the tech names, then in those days it can be a little bit more difficult at times for the runners, for some of these low float runners, to get enough volume to get back above the hump. So we'll see if it does a consolidation. But that would be one worth watching. I'm sure we have to pay for locates on this. I haven't gone ahead and paid for them because I've looked at a few chip names and some crypto names and Tesla, and that's pretty much it. So I don't know if we're going to have this on the radar, but I do agree with Luis. Like when these start showing that kind of weakness in the pre-market, then if you're looking for the longs, you better be very patient about it because this stock has done this pump and dump like 7 times in the last year.
Yeah, interesting to look at how many times, the float has been turned over, a couple metrics there from Luis. The low cap, it's not really low cap in the way that these guys are right now, but this SMR also, if you sort of zoom in here, we can see the short float. Whoa, that's zoomed in right there. Let me zoom back out a little bit right there. The short float right here for SMR, 26%. So that was something that I was looking at. And again, we had the market cap down here, 2.5 billion. So it's not going to be in the hundreds of millions or anything like that. But right there, 2.5 with a short float of 26%. So this is a name that, again, I've been looking at today, something that I think has a chance to pop up a little bit here if we continue to hold this level, 2250. Sticky note is now out. What's up to Tisha Perkins right there, and everybody in the chat. we have all these names. We're going to go back to the desk in a couple seconds, but we have all these big markets breaking out to all-time highs, right? The Dow yesterday, the NASDAQ, something called the S&P 500, also all breaking out through all-time highs. Well, SMH has been going sideways basically since July. Like we're below where we were in July. So I just like, you know, holding the 200, looks like this is possibly ready to get a little spicy here. So I like the long in the space. I mean, you're finally thinking about the breakout. We can look a little bit longer on a weekly. I don't know if that's really going to matter. But I think SMH does have a great opportunity to get going now after the hold, after all the talk, after AI. I mean, every single person I hear, Sundar Pichai, what happened to the bananas today?
There are no bananas. Aren't there though? Aren't there though?
Give me that back.
Wow, that was just gonna throw oranges at us, huh?
You know, it's probably good because get that vitamin C action. So I think you're very, very smart.
I for one, am feeling absolutely fine and couldn't possibly need any vitamin C whatsoever. I don't know what you're talking about, Randy. It's like literally I'm like hacking around the office.
Marissa told me, she said this morning, your chest seems bubbly. I'm like,
what does that eat? Bubbly?
Oh, like that. Yeah. I don't think that's what she meant, but that would have been.
I've never heard that one before.
That would have been really nice.
Bubbly?
No, because congested.
Yeah, congested, frog, something.
Yeah, well.
Oh, it's
yeah, and no, I think everyone around here has a little bit of something there. Hey, 6 degrees on Sunday, by the way. It's going to be real. +6. Yeah, that's like 40 something.
Not exactly doing cartwheels for 6 degrees, but I'll take it.
You're not on second week in December?
No, because like in the winter, like I actually want there to be snow so my daughter can play in the snow. Like we're not going to get. I like on the winter, on the weekends, I want there to be snow to play in, and I don't think we're going to be able to. We got
definitely not going to be able to.
Yeah, we got some. We didn't get that much.
You got 10 centimeters?
10.
Do not.
Good luck.
All right, let's get this show back on the road. Back to the desk.
All right, guys, Vinfast, good day for them yesterday. Wow, what a move up. And Wedbush analyst Danny Ives reaffirming the $8 price target on Vinfast, describing it as in the early innings of a multi-growth story. Vinfast share price was on a tear yesterday with a lot of short covering on the stock. If you missed last week from Thanksgiving holiday, Vinfast reported better than expected Q3 2024 results on November 26th. Revenue of $511 million, missed the estimates of $545 million, but loss per share was 23 cents, was better than expected. The street was looking for 28 cents loss there. EV deliveries up aggressively, 66% quarter over quarter and 115% year over year to 21,912 EVs, thanks to strong demand. Wedbush analyst Danny Ives called Vinfast results a step in the right direction with mojo into 2025, Adara.
Yeah, and he also wrote here apparently, too, in his analyst note, that in response to the elevated domestic demand for Vinfast's affordable fleet, the company's also announced new plans for the CKD facility in Vietnam, focused mostly here on VF3 and VF5 models. If you can see here, there's a big spike in volume on that daily chart there. Rounded bottom, nice little look there for VFS. Apparently, the company is also set to begin the production of these new models in 2025 with a targeted 300,000 maximum production capacity as these models start delivering globally. There's also going to be increasing scale, ongoing bill of materials and production cost optimization, and improved operating efficiencies, which have already started to positively impact Vinfast's path to profitability. This is also from the analyst note. And they said they continue to believe the company is in the early innings of a multi-growth story that's just beginning, with facilities expected to open in 2025, an updated portfolio launched for its global customer base, and strict cost management initiatives in place to generate steady, profitable growth over the coming years. So great note for Vinfast. And again, like this is the best volume on the daily chart we've had since May. So great look, guys, for VFS.
You guys know my affinity for the VF9. You guys know my affinity for the VF9. It is a looker, gentlemen. What's a look, though, on Vinfast?
Yeah, well, it's a looker. And the last time it was at this
Stock
price.
is cooking.
The stock definitely was cooking yesterday. That looked like program buying on that. If you looked at the intraday chart, like it's very, very linear. So it seemed like a buy program on that stock. Certainly somebody was accumulating. But the last time it traded off the $4 level, if we come to the chart, Fabian, the last time it came, it's like right off 4. It did have a checkup at 5 and then broke out to like the 6 quarter area. So I think that's, if it's going to make a continuation, you know, obviously the $5 level is pretty interesting here on VFS, and it needs to hold that today. But when I say a linear move, like we always speculate whether a program is just simply on and there's nobody going against it. That's generally what it looks like when you have that. Like it wasn't until 2 o'clock that you got a red candle after this broke out. So I think you want to have things like that on your radar. I was actually talking to Randy, although he just stepped away. And obviously, Rivian just recently got some money. This was an interesting sell zone on Rivian here. The sell twice this has happened when it's gotten to 12 and a quarter. So there's once, there's twice. It's itching up here now. There are 2 ways you can look at this. Okay, fine, it goes to 12.25. You're looking for a short, then maybe you scalp it for the short side. But if it can actually get through this price, I mean, depressed EV name, which is making a consolidation, holding the 200 period for the first time in a while. If it can break away from that quarter mark, this one looks very spicy. But let's be real. What's the, I mean, if you're looking at an EV name today, you're probably looking at Tesla breaking a 52-week high. Let's call a spade a spade. We break 362. There's going to be a lot of people long. I'm going to be one of them, taking that shot. I'm going to be looking to buy some dips also in Tesla. You know, sometimes you just got to play with the best.
Yeah, Tesla's going to be the #1 trade here on the sticky note today, and this is what we're talking about here with this. Yeah, I wrote down 363, but that high is 362. There was something on the weekly here, on the 20-minute chart for Tesla. I just wanted to check that out. Why did I write down? Yeah, because see, so the 52-week high, it's showing 361.53, I guess, as the 52-week high. I don't know why it's showing it right here. Okay, we'll have to figure this out. But anyways, right into there. It's 360. To me, it's this level. 362, 362.50 or so. But it looks like we're going to get there at some point today. Look, man, I mean, I really like Tesla, but not to talk about Vinfast again, but, you know, some of these names are going to work out. That's a nice move. Here's a 20-minute chart. Baseline pop. So I just wonder if going long in and around this $5 mark against this 4.30, there could be something there with VFS. So a couple good looks back in on the EV space there. And remember, this is trading at 5 times. You know, like GM is not expensive by any stretch of the imagination right here. And it's coming in. So you're not buying the top. You know, you're buying... I mean, I know there's going to be a push to American companies and things like that. Tesla's an American company. But at the end of the day, maybe this little drip down into 52, you buy a little bit here, then you buy a little bit more if it comes in into 48, 46, 47, and then you have the 200 period, which has been working for the year. You know, so we'll see if this 200 period wants to hold, but GM is one of the names coming in if you didn't want to pay an overly expensive price and still want to get, you know, someone that's producing at high volume. So that's what that is for General Motors versus a Tesla. I would still pick Tesla, though.
All right, guys, I think it's 9 o'clock, almost 9 o'clock. Should we start having a look here at the futures? We're very close to that 6,100-point level on the ES December contract. The overnight high, guys, 60.98. So we're right there. We may see that 6,100 breach during the day. So we'll keep tabs on that. The overnight low, not really the area that we're looking at as support, that's 60.91. We're going to have to go all the way down to about 6,000 mid-60s as that top area that we were consolidating at the day prior. So we'll keep tabs on that. All right, guys, make sure to get the watch list. Adair prepares it every day, and we all use it on this desk. And no good morning routine is set without a good watch list. Helps you prepare helps you focus on everything that's moving in the day, and helps you know exactly what is in vogue on the day. So let's have a look at the first one today. The first on the rundown, Bitcoin. all-time highs, breaching that $100,000 level. I know everybody has different all-time highs. I have it on my platform here, Fabian, as 104,101.25. I'm seeing other reports, though, of 103,000 mid-800s, up 140% in 2024 and 48% Adara since the election, especially after Donald Trump announced Paul Atkins as the incoming SEC chair.
Honestly, I think probably the market was just relieved we weren't going to get another situation like Gary Gensler, who we know was not lauded by the crypto community due to his pretty harsh stance on crypto, especially names like XRP. I have MicroStrategy up here. This is the daily chart. I just kind of have it up here since the split. We're up about 9% right now in the day. And MSTR is interesting, too, because we know Michael Saylor has been really after Satya Nadella and Microsoft to get involved in Bitcoin. On December 10th, Microsoft's going to vote as to whether or not they want to be investing in Bitcoin. And MicroStrategy here, courtesy of Michael Saylor, actually presented a 3-minute PowerPoint that you can find on YouTube. It's posted on MicroStrategy's YouTube page about why he believes Microsoft should get involved. So interesting stuff here. We'll have to see what happens on December 10th. Bye.
All right, guys, so I want to mention super quick here. Charles Schwab announced this morning that they will be getting into the spot ETF deal. Pending regulatory adjustments, expect that early next year, gentlemen.
Yeah, just checking to see if Schwab was moving on that. No, not really. But I think you're going to have to, say, like, pick your poison today, right? And I think as long as you're looking, if you're looking momentum, as long as you're looking at something in the crypto space, I think you will be fine. I saw a question in the chat. It was like, what other miners can you look at outside of just like Mara? You could look at a CleanSpark if you want to have a look at something like that. I mean, you've got Robinhood, you've got Coinbase, you've got MSTR. What else? I mean, I could name a million things out there. Block is going to make a power move probably, but it all starts tracking Bitcoin. So there's a couple of things to look for. If I'm looking longs on BTC and looking longs like some Coinbase, we're talking Robinhood as well, then you got to look for where the dip might come. We haven't really broken 103.5. There's been a few little ticks above it, but if we pull back, there's this 101.5 zone and then there's 100,000. That's where I want to look dip buys. Obviously, when it comes to IBIT, which is what we'll trade, it's the liquidity that we love about it. But I'm looking at 101.5. That's what I want to see, the 101.5 and the 103 levels on BTC. And then I want to look mean regression dip buys on IBIT off of that trade. That's going to be the first place that I like to look for in Bitcoin. Robinhood, obviously, it's going to gap up a little bit on Bitcoin news. And then I guess we'll talk about it later, but they have their own things going on. So I also like them for a dip buy, but I just realized Hood has its own section down there, so I don't have to lump it in.
Hood a buy? Question mark. We'll talk about that in a minute. I'm also going to spoil it for everybody as well on this. Thanks Scott Tomlinson there in the chat who likes what he sees here on this. But there's Robinhood, there's Tesla, there's SMR, there's AMD, there's IBIT. You can go find out, read what I wrote, and read what I wrote also in the note itself here. So go find that over there at Trader TV, Sean. But I what I wrote down about IBIT was pretty simple. I like this break at 59. I just think that there's going to be new money piling into this here today when we come in and we realize that it's over 100K. It's all over the news. It's all over the media. I mean, it's exactly what everybody wants. You are probably, as Neil mentioned, going to get a pull back in it, which is sort of what's happening now. As, you always get runs and then it pulls back and then it bumps again. Generally speaking, I'm going to try to play this almost like an earnings play. So there's the gap higher right now. We've never been up here. It's all-time highs, right? So what you can do is when you look at a stock like that, I'm always trying to think about the 200 period moving average down here at 57.80, right, to see if that comes into play. So that might be something. And by the time we open up, this will probably be more around 58. So we could definitely try that as a possible situation. Or I was going to say, if we start to take off from these levels and we just miss buying the dips, then I think you can look at VWAP when we go to break 59. If we do it, great. We punch long, we get long, no problem. But if we break it, then we have to use support somewhere around VWAP. So we're going to use VWAP as support if we go, but we are here to go. So let's wait to see if we can break that $59. Again, it's just it's only because it's the high of the pre-market. I don't really care what this price is. Like, it doesn't, to me, to equate a dollar value to something that's going to move in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. Like this is going to move 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. Like it's going to move more than IBIT's. The price of IBIT's not going to be able to keep up with it. So I'm not worried about a psychological level on IBIT. It's just more watching the underlying. So, and then you also have here, like there still is ETHE. Like there are other opportunities here to trade. This is still the grayscale product over on the pink sheets, on the Amex from the pink sheets, started over there with GBTC. And now you're seeing this start to sort of moon a little bit as well, continuously going higher here. All-time highs for Ethereum, I thought was like around 4,200. I'll have to double check that, but you're getting close into that. Obviously, our charts, unfortunately, do not flip over from OTC, but there it is there, 33 and change. Ethereum Trust starting to go higher. And, people have been talking about this for a while, and it looks like now Bitcoin all seem to be working higher. And yeah, definitely want to be involved in this, and I think we will be today on BTC.
Taiwan Semi and Nvidia looking at strengthening their relationship. So Nvidia in talks with TSMC to produce their new incoming Blackwell chips at their new, Taiwan Semi's new Arizona plant. Production does begin next year if finalized. If this deal goes through, Nvidia would join Apple and AMD as clients of TSMC's for their Arizona facilities. But here's the deal. So while the front end manufacturing is being done in Arizona, chips still have to be sent back to Taiwan for packaging due to the lack of chip on wafer on substrate capacity in Arizona. It's a whole lot of technical terms, Hedera, but all we understand here is the final product not done in the United States.
That I thought was a bit of an interesting catch here there for TSM and Nvidia. We'll have to see how that relationship unfolds, especially with the new administration. Definitely the focus is going to be on U.S. made. What I want to talk about, too, is a story with Nvidia in Vietnam. Jensen Huang here, which is, of course, the leather jacket clad CEO of Nvidia, apparently going to Vietnam, signing a cooperation agreement with the Vietnamese government, basically helping to work with them to emphasize their AI growth. Also, Jensen Huang said that the company is acquiring or is planning on acquiring, the way he worded it was a bit vague, this Vinbrain from Vingroup. So he's looking to acquire Vinbrain. That's actually an AI company that Nvidia has previously been involved in as well. So this could be an interesting story. Nvidia in Vietnam and also working with Taiwan Semi.
They're both kind of flat on the day, guys. Taiwan Semi up a third. What's the look?
Yeah, you know what? Look, Nvidia's flattish, but then remember it's right at that 145 price. So it's exactly the kind of price that you might get a little gravity around. So I can't be terribly surprised. Look, nice bounce off the 50 period. Simple moving average on the daily, and obviously it was like a two-pronged long. Like, look, program buy, pullback, program buy, pullback. And I don't know that it necessarily does exactly that. But remember, the last time, I shouldn't say remember, but the last time it had a ramp up that was this strong, it pulled back and held, and then where it held ended up being a pretty key price. For like 3 days, it based out, then you got a breakout. So I'm looking at that higher low in here and kind of thinking, as long as it's above it's 143.5, 144. As long as it holds on to this, that's the next leg for me here on Nvidia. So hold on to that, and that's your next leg. And if it loses 143, your level of patience to wait for 41 to 42 has to be there. And then as I think we already kind of went over, AMD getting off the schneid, it's in a consolidation phase. If the market does dip, then this one off the 141.5 looks good to me. And then breaking out the top, if we'll zoom out AMD, this is not it's not like an all-time high or anything. It's just a local high here underneath 145 on advanced micro devices. Out of morbid curiosity, I want to see if Intel's actually moving any more. Then no, it's not. No, I would have thought, whatever. There was a couple of board appointments there for Intel, and it's still not doing a heck of a lot. So yeah, it's AMD and Nvidia for me. Intel hasn't turned into much.
No, Intel, yeah. I mean, we're getting good stories out of it. So maybe it will turn around. But yeah, that 22 level could be something. So look, for AMD, I wrote down here that since we've broken through this 144 level now on AMD, this was something that, there it is right here. So this is just a 20-minute chart. There's 144. So back on the 3rd, we didn't hold it. We didn't hold it here on the 4th yesterday, and now today we're back here. So It's up. The market's not doing much. But I really like this break long on advanced micro devices. So we're going to wait to see if we can break this 144 area and just continue to climb up. I think it does have a magnet of 150. I really like the stock here today. Think that we do have a good opportunity to get going through the north side of AMD and just trying to buy some dips. I mean, I'd also wrote down here that we know that the support area of 140, fine, but I mean, the market's going to have to come in for us to get 140. I don't know if that's going to happen today. But if we just zoom out and just sort of see, and I don't want to get too much there, but there's 142 right here. Held the day before, fell back in, sort of consolidated underneath. And then yesterday, once we broke that 142, we bounced off of it one time before heading back to the upside. So we can watch out for 142 as well by, dip buy opportunities if we wind up not taking this 144. So dip buy into this area where there's some consolidation. Look, if you take a 142, you're going to have to hold it to 140, 150. So you're going to have to give it that room to get back into this area. So I would just say those are my plans of action. I think it's pretty clear and pretty concise on AMD. So let's just see if it holds this 144 to begin with. And if it does, then we'll be looking to go long off of this level.
Tesla getting multiple comments today from different rating agencies. I'll talk about Bank of America, a new street high price target here, $400, citing robotics and AI potential. With respect to robotics, they expect Optimus to play a key role in the manufacturing of the Cybercab slated for release in 26. With respect to AI, they're really touting Tesla's Dojo supercomputer and the autonomous systems, which are central to their long-term growth. Morgan Stanley kind of predicting that the market cap for Tesla, Dara, could reach $1.6 trillion because of AI and robotics.
That's definitely a great catalyst. Also, I really thought it was pretty interesting. Optimus was really the crux of that upgrade or that price target increase. We have another price target increase here from Guggenheim, but this one's a bit more of a double-edged sword. They still have a sell rating. They raised their price target from 156 to 175. Their concerns seem to be, and this seems like the last couple analyst notes we've gotten from Guggenheim on Tesla, they're worried about these Q4 deliveries. They're estimating right now 491,000 vehicles. So that's actually below the company's forecast of around 495,000 vehicles. It's also below consensus, and they actually do not think the company is going to reach that 500,000 deliveries per quarter. So we'll have to wait and see what happens here. But that is Guggenheim, which despite that overall bearishness, did still raise its price target.
So where do you guys fall? Guggenheim, on the Guggenheim side or the Bank of America side, guys?
In between, no. I fall on anything bullish side for Tesla. So I would say that BAC upgrade there is what I like. But Adair had mentioned that Guggenheim still increasing their price targets there. But Tesla was just at 180.
Yeah, exactly.
Like at the beginning or in the middle of this year, summertime. And now it's
1.6 trillion if they get robotics figured. You could make an argument that that's light because, and you know what, that's just one aspect of it. I think that doesn't necessarily include, of course, eventually when automation becomes, I guess the norm is the best way to think about it. So you can go more than a 1.6. I think you're probably talking about a $2 trillion company if both those things happen. That said, okay, let's get the brass tacks here. The 52-week high is $361.90 something cents, 93 cents. So effectively $362 there. If you want to be precise, 7 cents lower. So if it breaks that today, I'm going to go long on Tesla. It's pretty much that simple. As long as it makes the break, we'll go for it. The last time it was up here, it wasn't quite the same as this. Like it was consolidating. There was a dip, a big dip, and then there was a nice break. And that was going into the open at 8 o'clock. Now we're more of a consolidative tone. The fact that we're holding above this 357, 358, it has been resistance. I like it. If there's a dip buy, to me, it's I like 50. It's like 50s and 54s, like deep down in here if we don't get the breakout trade. So if there's no breakout, then we're just being very, very patient over there on Tesla. Ooh, and we just got a poll up here. Ooh. So here's the poll. And by the way, if you want to be in the chat, ask us questions, drop symbols in there, hit the subscribe. It's a subs-only chat. And if you want to answer this poll, where do you see Bitcoin's price by the end of next year, 2025? Oh my goodness. 2025, you know what? I'm going to think that we don't actually, I think you could break 150. But I think if you do that, there will be a pullback at some point. So I think you're stuck between 100 and 150, to be honest, by the end of next year. When I first read it, I thought that was at the end of this year, but it's at the end of next year.
Yeah.
The pullback.
Yeah. All right. So just really quickly here, Tesla is going to be pretty much my number one idea. I mean, I like them all the same. I like AMD and Tesla and IBIT pretty much all equal. I just want to bring everyone to this area right here back on the 25th. So it looks like in the pre-market on the 25th, the high of Tesla was 362.70. So I'm actually going to wait. For me, I'm going to use a bit more shares. I'm going to use 363 break because this top already happened right there. So I'm just going to give it a minute to make sure that we do break it. But I mean, I like the Tesla long. Like, I think you can go long now. It's just we're 15. Actually, we're quite a ways still from the open. Yeah, I mean, you could start a long now at 360 on Tesla. I mean, if you like the stock. Anyways, the dip down opportunities would be fantastic. There's that 354 area, 355 that Neil was mentioning. I think into here too, 356. Anyways, you want to be long this name because if you're going to look over here, Tesla, you're just going to see the market pretty flat, right? We know sort of the trajectory of what this market has been. This is the NASDAQ on a 60-minute. We just cracked the high yesterday, all-time highs, right? So there it goes. The NASDAQ is up. So you'd like to play longs. We're above VWAP. We're above the 50-period moving average. So on a flat day, when the market, I still think, has a long to it, I mean, yesterday we were sort of like this. We wound up 1%, right? So we'll see that Tesla is much outperforming the market today. So for me, I like it. I like the stock. I like the break. But I'm going to wait for a little more patience there and try to see about that 363 high because, honestly, it shouldn't make that much of a difference. But, again, if you like the long, you like the long. And there's almost nothing wrong with trying to get that. Hey, what's up, Alex? Right here in the chat, just wanted to reference that. We do have that new cool thing that we'll put the chat up on the screen more and more, but there he goes. Thank you for your patience. Hey, well, thank you for watching. That's more important to me, but yeah, patience is definitely something that we're trying to work on there so that we can, represent this hat a little more appropriately there. So, yeah, Bitcoin right now, 102.7, still trying to hold, and ETH there, 39.2. We'll look at some altcoins as the show goes on, but right now, let's go over to Hood.
New announcement today, Sean, from Robinhood. Looks like they may be evaluating the opportunities for sports betting, but they haven't made concrete plans yet. But it's a different take than DraftKings, FanDuel, and some of the others. The expansion could involve contracts similar to those that were introduced during the presidential election by Kalshi and Polymarket, allowing peer-to-peer trading rather than traditional bets against the house. So that's where it kind of changes there. It's also signaling future diversification of their offering. So this is by no means the end of their product ideas, Adara.
Yeah, lots of price target increases here to KeyBank, Deutsche Bank. We also had Piper Sandler raising their price target and also saying that they really were happy with what they see during the investor day. They said it was pretty bullish. It's also worth noting, though, CEO Vlad Tenev of Robinhood was actually just on CNBC this morning, and he clarified he does not see Robinhood as a direct competitor of DraftKings. We know DraftKings dropped on that initial announcement that the company was, quote, keenly looking into sports betting. But Vlad Tenev did clarify here that he wouldn't rule out the possibility of getting involved in some sports betting in some way. I also, too, want to mention this Proterra Therapeutics, TARA, got an 18% short float here in a market cap around $165 million, announcing some positive trial data here. Great look on the 15-minute chart, guys.
All right, guys, 7 1/3 here for Hood. What's the look?
It's all good in the Hood. Like there's enough money out there in the betting market for everyone to win.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, not everybody. There's always going to be some consolidation for sure. If you go all the way back on the Hood, and this is what you have to do. These IPOs, man. Like, okay, if it ever ends up getting back about $60, that would be like the rocket ship area. But if you look, this is where you open it like at 35, and the last time it was at this price, you had a wall there at 40, which we've now broken above. So it's this area from 40 to 45 where there's some price history. So I think you got room today to at least the $45 level on a continuation. With that little dip that we had in BTC back into 102.5, you were channeled back down into Bitcoin, into Robinhood, I should say. So that does set you up for the old hold the low and you must go kind of play. And that would be off the pre-market lows at 42. But just be looking for a dip, hold on to 42, and then a continuation long on Robinhood. I think this is more of a join the trend type of trade. And there was one crypto adjacent name that I completely forgot about. Not that I forgot about it, I just didn't say anything. We had mentioned Block throwing a block party like everything else and breaking out on the daily. Block could see a 100 break. Not a ton of volume pre-market. So I feel like Tesla and iBit probably better ideas, and I still like that AMD, but don't want to ignore if Square gets above 100. I think this breakout is looming for them. So Robinhood, I want to see it hold that pre-market low because it's been channeled down, to look for the dip and rip off the pre-market low. I don't know if it's the first thing that I would jump into a trade on.
All right. I mean, I really love the idea of Robinhood getting into gambling. I mean, they already are in gambling. I mean, this is, stock market options. They have the right crowd involved in this for sure. Look, 42 for dips I wrote down here on the sticky note for Robinhood. I don't know if we're going to get to that. It was a strong investor day yesterday. I liked it. Holding 40 support level with these upgrades. I think it was going to do that. So for me on Robinhood right now, I am bidding $42. That's where the 200 period moving is. I have to be a man of my word, right? I mean, we got to trade what we like, what we look at, and how we think about the work that we've done. I like this level. Seems like something technically here as well on the pre-market levels of $42. Up 8% really on a couple upgrades and an investor day that happened yesterday. Yeah, I mean, it's nice. It might be a little far. So that's why I wanted to write down $40 there. I don't want to be too nervous about it, but realistically, this 40.5 to 41 area might be where you want to start to layer in a few more shares if this 42 doesn't hold. So I think you can sort of dip down. I'm not sure you want to mess with in between 41 to 42, but if you can come into this next sort of layer into there, I mean, we really like Robinhood. This stock has been an absolute monster to the upside here. And SoFi is finally starting to pick up with it as well. So we can go back over to the desk and figure out what the story is with SoFi. But Robinhood, another name that I really, really think is going to be in play today, and it already is with over 3 million shares.
It's like a theme of new products today, Sean, with Hood, with the sports betting. Today, SoFi coming out with alt investments, alternative investments. What do I mean by that? So if you want to get into some of these non-publicly listed companies, SpaceX, for example, OpenAI, and others, they're going to give you access to these private market funds. They're working with a team called Templum One, which is a platform for alternative investments. So you'll be able to access some of the companies I just mentioned. They also, though, currently, you still have to be an accredited investor. So we're still being babysat by the government here. Maybe that requirement gets removed. Adara, any more information on this one?
Yeah, I think what's interesting, too, they had that alt announcement coming through yesterday. And then this morning as well, they were down. I looked it up. Apparently, Silver Lake, which is a pretty large institutional investor, several of their entities have offloaded shares totaling roughly $498 million. That's according to a Form 4 filing. Apparently, a lot of this selling was led by Mike Bingle, who is a executive there at Silver Lake. He's also a member of SoFi's directors. So interesting look there for SOFI and Mike Bingle and Silver Lake there.
So what do you think, Neil? Are you interested in these alt investments?
I mean, who wouldn't be from a first standpoint? I mean, obviously, it's going to come down to like the structure of it. I know what you say about the whole babysitting and by the government, but a lot of people have been interested in getting into things like SpaceX. That's why the DXYZ has been a bit of a runner. That's why the ARK Venture gets a little bit of press because of their holdings in that. Like, how would you get it? How would you get access to invest in OpenAI? Those types of things are interesting. It's not. Look, SoFi's down 2% today in a day where we're talking about anything fintech related has got a bid under it. So this $16 area, if there's selling going on, it's been sideways off this level for a bit. And I have the daily chart up just so you can see this pretty decent slope that SoFi has been on has kind of broken here. Like you've now closed a couple of days underneath what has been a support trend line. You need to reestablish it. I think this is a stock I'm more interested in long if it's breaking above 1660. And if it's not going to do that, then you're waiting for it to make some kind of a turn off of a support level So I'm not touching this diddling in the middle. I think there's so many other places that you could trade. If I was thinking, I couldn't argue with anybody that said you wanted to short it into prior high. That's not really going to be my look for it. But yeah, just look out because it is breaking a bit of a trend on the daily chart. It needs to reestablish it in my mind. And I saw a few people, not a few people, I mean a bunch of people have been asking about Terra in the chat. There it is. And one of the questions was, what is the short float on TARA Pro Terra? It's 18% short float. And it is absolutely, well, let's just say it's going ham. So it's up 180%. It just went to $10. It was at $8 when you guys were asking the question. But look at this pullback that's already happening. So when something has gone this parabolic before we've even opened, we have 5 minutes to the open, and it's going to probably have some profit takers. It's a $3.50 stock yesterday, and it just broke away from $7. There will be profit takers at 3x, I think, at the open. And watch out for this to be a high potential halt candidate for TARA. Again, just be careful. It's a 15 million float, and it's done 45 million. It's done 3 times its float, and it's only 925. So just be careful with this. I do expect some profit takers on something like this at 9:30.
A lot of people chat there talking about having SoFi calls. I mean, I know there's a lot of people in SoFi. SoFi's new 52-week high, 1661, made yesterday or so, and you know, I don't like the fact that it's down. That's the only thing, right? And it's like, if we're going to talk the game, it's relatively weak versus the market, pretty relative as well, right? I mean, the market's flat. Even the ES right now flat as well. So for me, looking at SoFi is going to have to be probably a short today. You know, I mean, in the pre-market, we've danced around. If you're going to look at levels though, 1570, 1575, I think to hold that would make some sense. We held it yesterday. Why not do that again today? There's just so many names that we can look for breakouts today. I mean, even like a name that we didn't even talk about, like Amazon yesterday was huge. I mean, yesterday Amazon was my #1 P&L name. It was the #1 idea on the sticky note yesterday, and it was 216 dip buys. Break. We didn't get the dip buy yesterday. There was the move there. Yesterday into 216, so it must have been the day before actually on Amazon that we had this rip through the north side. We were just kept on taking out some highs, and then we came into yesterday and saw Amazon actually up at that 220 area. But look where we started the day, right in the pre-market up there 1030. We are missing quotes there. So this is that 216 that I'm talking about from yesterday. Look at that break higher into 220. So it actually was yesterday. This little gap there confused me for the day there, but there's the break yesterday off the open, not 215 all the way up to 220. I apologize for missing that data, but I think we could do that again today. I mean, this hold at 217, there's going to be another level that you're going to want to look at for Amazon if it dips down. And then you also have a 220 break that could happen again immediately off the open. So I'm going to try to fix this little wick here and get this out of here. We just have to go to this and see. It says the bottom here was 206. Sometimes these, these wicks will get involved. 218.70, let's just say that would be the low.
Good luck.
All right, so there you go. So we're just going to wait to see if we can take out this 220 again there, right from yesterday's high, and then around 11 o'clock for Amazon. So another name. So that's why SoFi, I have Tesla on our mind. We can have a quick look at that. I mean, those imbalances are going to be out. They are out right now, so we can have a quick look to see if anything's happening. So let's zoom in a little bit. So Tesla comes underneath 360 now. Pretty important to note that as we are hoping for that to hold. The other one that needs to hold is going to be AMD. Just quickly, I just called this up. All right, Salesforce. Obviously, Salesforce's 13% move yesterday has a little bit of a sell side to it today. So we'll watch out, see what happens here with Salesforce. Come on, charts. There it is, Salesforce on the downside. There's Tesla. It looks like Neil Tesla will
buy
be
up.
It was just there. Oh, there it is again. 162 to buy. So you're starting to see some stabilization here in that. But other than that, it looks like we'll have a minute and a half to open to relatively stable quotes. Obviously the quotes are stable, but stable price action as we just range around this 144 to 143 area on AMD and Tesla's holding 360. So the
slight dip in Bitcoin got down to like 102 change there. So IBIT's at, I don't want to call it pre-market lows. When you're a 24-hour market, just calling something a pre-market lows, let's call it like the 6 a.m. low at 58.4, like right around the 102 area. So you're getting a little bit of a bounce here. Going to be watching, obviously, IBIT off the open for a dip and like mean reversion type of rip over a breakout style trade. I just saw Nvidia shoot, maybe not shoot up, but get back through the 145. So I don't want to completely ignore that. I do like some AMD, but I don't want to ignore over in Nvidia. And then we didn't mention just one last name that we didn't get into, if it'll load up. Apple, with only 40 seconds. Apple, again, didn't see it on the imbalance locator, but it got a little bit of a pop there, about $1. So Apple just went green. And right now, would open at another all-time high for Apple. I didn't see an imbalance on it, but Apple probably going to open at all-time high today, which could set up at 245. Wasn't even in play. I wasn't even looking at Apple, but I think we got to put this one on the radar as well to add to Tesla, which could break almost instantly. So let's be ready for it. It's Thursday. It's Bitcoin 100,000 watch party over it. And let's see the continuation. Get the camera off me. The countdown is on. Brought to you by Firefly. Ring it, Adara, in 2 and 1.
Right, the party has been started. Make sure you hit the like and the subscribe, of course. Thank you, Fabian, for that. All right, Robinhood just fell into our level, so I'm not getting quotes again. Okay, there the quotes are.
Yeah.
All right, so here we go. Robinhood right now up and going. We're long on Robinhood, but it is falling in a lot. Wow, into 41. Okay, well, hey, man, this is why we talked about sitting there and catching these falling knives. This is why we don't just layer our orders into everything.
My quotes.
All right, there goes Tesla now, I guess, as well. Huge for Tesla, but I have no idea where we are right now on this stock. As we are, there it is. We are having, well, we're underneath now. I thought we were above on this Tesla trade, but here we go. We are now long on Tesla in and around this 363 and change area. Looks like the quotes are finally starting to stabilize. We did have a movement down there right now. So, okay, so Tesla, we're long now at 363. 20s, it's dancing around. I'm getting some out on the upside here. Let's see if Tesla wants to continue to work itself out. The market is making a move down, so I'm going to take some more
64, I think.
Yes, baby. Yeah. Oh, yeah. We're right there on Tesla right now. I just got some out there, Neil, at 64.50, 64.17, sorry, as it's really popping around. The mistake of the day so far, though, is Robinhood, because that is falling down like crazy right here. But anyways, go ahead. Sorry, Neil. I know we're both having some quote issues.
Yeah, so look, I did get the break at 62, and I crossed to the quarters. I actually got the quarters exactly where we crossed to. I just got to fill it in front of 65s as well. Apologize for the cough, guys. But I'm looking at the mean revert on
huge
on
here,
Hood.
by the way.
Is that starting to come? So only one trade for me, which is 362 break on Tesla, and now we're holding at the 65. You did have a little bit of a bump in BTC. But it's all about the Tesla. Now 65 is broken.
Oh, my God.
Let's go. Tesla continues to rally. I just put an order. Oh, I didn't get the 65 half print. Let's get one at 65 as it's coming right back through. Wow, what a move there by Tesla. 1 for 1. That was the idea we liked the best. So thankfully it did come in there. That was wild. The quotes were, I think, just a volume thing. It was so much volume coming through on Tesla. That's what's going to happen. Just for anyone looking, Apple did open at all-time highs. We were mentioning it's starting to pull back in. That prior high, 243.5. So Apple on the charge as well.
So again, this is going to sound like a broken record, but honestly, day is done now. So, I mean, that's your one trade. Neil nailed it right there by talking about how you only need one trade, and there for Tesla, it's over with. We talked about it being the number one trade here on the sticky note. It is your number one trade. It's the number one P&L name. It's absolutely a monster. It's Tesla. What's up, Adara?
Lots moving around this morning I want to mention, but I want to start here with Meta, M-E-T-A. This is, Neil mentioned Apple being near all-time highs at open. Meta actually made new all-time highs and rejected that 620 level. This morning we had the information reporting that the company is going to be farming out some of its designs for this mixed reality services due to some concerns about a potential trade war between China and the U.S. So META on watch there. Now trying to pull back into that 615 area. There's a couple other stocks moving around. Be aware of some of these airlines like AAPL and LUV. American Airlines with some updated guidance notes, and Southwest announcing that they're going to be having a $750 million buyback. I'm also seeing names like SoundCloud running this morning as well. VFS, we have CGC. There's a lot to be aware of, guys.
Yeah, props up to everybody. Props up to Neil. Props up to everybody. It's a chicken dinner damn winner. Right now, wow is all I can say there. Remember I said we're using upsized shares. We're going on this. This is what we're doing today. It is an absolute monster right there, Tesla. Congratulations to everybody. Congratulations, reverse congratulations to anybody that tailed me here on Robinhood. I'm going to just start getting some out now because the amount of money that we made here on Tesla, I don't want it to be sort of squashed by losing a significant amount here on Robinhood. So we're long right now on Robinhood, and we're out 50 cents or 40 cents. So I'm going to get another piece out as we continue to go upside there on Tesla. I told you what it is, man. It's the end of the day for me right now. That's that trade. We're still going to trade, but it's just one trade. And I mean, I'm trying to sit here to show and to prove and to talk about how we can actually make this as an income source. Maybe not potentially. You just want to hit it and quit it. Ain't nothing wrong with that. And right there on Tesla, it's a $4 winner to start the day. And I'm proud to have told you guys that it was on upside shares. So it was the bigger position on that trade, but it worked out. It's Tesla. It's to the moon. Congratulations, everybody. Congratulations, Neil. Everybody that's there that hit that. That's why we're here.
Nvidia just broke the high of the day. I don't want to. Look, obviously, Tesla's a big-time runner, and I know we haven't talked about Nvidia. I'm going to get to Robinhood in a second, but Nvidia broke today's high. Now, remember, this is why it's important. Yesterday's high is like 20 cents higher, so you do have overhead resistance happening on Nvidia, but it's absolutely flying with the markets. I got Robinhood off of this low. It's trying to break 41, and it can't seem to do it. So we're trying to scalp out of Robinhood as Tesla just continues to rocket ship up. Obviously, 52-week high. You're not at any all-time highs there on Tesla. And usually I do some work where we pull back the weekly chart. But this just went like super parabolic.
Oh my God.
When it broke the 365 level. At this point, next offer is in front of 370.
Let's fucking go.
You know, what an unbelievable rally here on Tesla. It was an all-time high break at 361.93, and it just continues to go. And by the way, Bitcoin crossed back above 103. So if you were looking for IBIT, you're probably a winner as well. But you know, Tesla was the first thing that came in. We're going to continue to ride with that. I still want to get into Bitcoin. As long as we're above 100,000, I still feel like this is going to be a long for us. It's just a matter of being patient, right? Like the dip buy came into that pre-market low. You had to have it right away. Maybe we get a VWAP. Maybe we get a retest of that low. Whichever one it is, that's where I want to take my shot. So obviously, shout out to anyone that got into Bitcoin. Bit of a missed opportunity there. And now Nvidia is at yesterday's high and continuing to break.
Oh boy, oh boy. This is very, very exciting stuff here. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. I mean, maybe it's exciting, maybe it's not.
I pity the fool that doesn't hit the like and subscribe button.
Pity the fool on that one. But yeah, hit the like, hit the subscribe, get going, man, or else Mr. T will come and get you. All right, so we just got out of Robinhood. We talked about that right there. Nice moves to the upside. It doesn't look like it wants to hold 40. I mean, it's here right now. There it goes. It breaks lower through 40 bucks right now on Robinhood. So we're going to give it a couple more pennies to the low side, but it looks like it's going to do it right now. And there it goes, breaking through 90s. We'll get out there on Robinhood. So slap a fail on that one as it continues to march lower. So remember I was like Robinhood up 7% seemed a little bit spicy on that. But we'll wait to see now if it retakes that level. I don't want to just keep on digging in here to Robinhood, but it is starting to get a little interesting there. I'll try to buy a little bit back here on Robinhood, and just to see if we do want to hold out for this $40 level, we'll buy a little bit back in. Yeah, I mean, big day alert. We talked about it here on Tesla. Our best outs up there at 368. So now it's trying to fall back in with this market as well. Good reload on Robinhood, but we've already lost the first time. Too bad it didn't make this move that time. There we go, long it back at 40. And look at this move coming back in on Robinhood. Good thing we just took a piece out right there at 25. So that was good. What's up, Adara?
Some more stocks to be aware of this morning as we head into the first 10 trading minutes of the session. We do have American Airlines here, AAPL, up about 10% with an 8.8% short float. This is at day's highs. This is a 10 million share volume candle here on the 15-minute chart. I mentioned this earlier here, but they did have higher than expected guidance for Q4. Adjusted earnings, they're estimating between 55 and 75 cents per share versus 39 cents per share expected. I also want to mention OKTA, which got a Bernstein upgrade this morning. They did have a pretty strong day one earnings as well initially before pushing lower. They're up about 3.5% right now for OKTA, guys.
I'm actually going to make a comment because of Robinhood. There was a seller, and I didn't think too much of this in the pre-market, and I'm going to maybe rethink that decision on Hood. There was a seller in the pre-market at 42.25 for a boat. Like, it was doing no volume, and it was like 100,000 shares. They just said, I'm on the offer, and I'm taking it. And they got filled before 8 o'clock or somewhere in around here, around 8 o'clock before we even came on. And I was thinking, okay, well, maybe it's just going to be the breakout. And long underneath that was probably dangerous. I had 2 trades. One of them won, and then obviously the other one I just got out.
Let's go.
I want to see it hold a higher low, and then I want to jump back into it. But if you look at the acceleration, when it got right to that price is where it broke down. Where that seller was at 42.25, it broke you-know-what at that same price. If I see that again, I'm going to file it away and maybe ask myself if I wanted to calm down if it loses that kind of a bit. So monster seller was there. Probably should have taken more note of it. Look, Tesla being up this much is probably masking the fact that the NASDAQ just wicked the high into yesterday's top and pulled back here. So worth acknowledging, you're getting a pretty hefty pullback in the NASDAQ off of yesterday's high. Topping tail candle. I want to see us get back above this 215.4, maybe even the half, and I'll get a little more confident because Nvidia, it lost its breakout. I'm looking back over at some of the crypto names, and they're starting to pull back. Square had a big pullback. It's really just Tesla that's doing what you expect. Everything else has been a bit of a different story. So I'm sort of fortunate that I was able to get something out of that hood bounce. Now we're looking at this 370 here on Tesla. That's where the next offer is going to be as we go up to the desk with Adara.
Keep an eye on SoundHound here, SOUN. This one has about a 27.6% short float. What a push up here on the 15-minute chart, making new day's highs as we speak. Looks like they're trading up here in this announcement that their voice AI phone ordering is going to be debuted across all locations of Torchy's Tacos, which is a Mexican food establishment chain there. So keep an eye on SOUN, up about 14%. Again, 27.6% short float and Nvidia associations, guys.
Thank you so much, Adara, man. This is now $6. We'll go like this. What's up, Ozan? Monster movements on Tesla. Shout out to Chef Joe. Shout out to all the boys and the girls and the traders and the theys. Everybody in the chat, what's up to you? Because this has been what a day here on Tesla. The number one idea, we talked about it there today, take that 363 with confidence and with share size. And that's what happened. And boom goes the dynamite. Monster moves up, man. $6 now in the monies, which is nice. All right, this name, though, not nice. Robinhood again. We took that reload there back into the long. We talked about it. It bumped all the way back up to 40.70 off of that reloaded long. So we didn't make it all back, but we did make some of it back right there on Robinhood. Now we'll just let it go. All right, Tesla. The beat is on right now, up to 370. My attention's probably still going to be onto this. I only have about 15% left, but 15% left is a decent spot. So I'm happy with what we're doing right now. Let's just see if it will continue to make a higher move. I'm going to take something out now because we're right at this level. And again, when you're trading with more shares, for me, this is kind of why I'm choosing to do is I can layer out the outs, but it makes it look like I never really have very good outs because I look back and it's like, oh my God, 365. It works. Layering out works great when the stock kind of just doesn't move anywhere. But when it starts to rip up like this, you always think, oh man, what if I still had the boat? But it doesn't matter. It's a nice move right now for Tesla. Looks like it still wants to go higher, man. I just took another piece out.
Yeah, there's not even anything on the 370 level. You're used to seeing like, oh, there's a million shares on the offer, blah, blah, blah. There's nothing there. I took some out in front of the 370, and now it's a hold through 370 as far as I'm concerned. I didn't get a dip buy on Bitcoin here in VWAP. It was a little bit of a fast bounce. It's holding a higher low. You're probably going to break out the top here past 103. It's a nice move. I'm going to sit on the bid and see if we can pick something up. But if we end up with the breakout trade, it kind of is what it is at this point. So you're about to break out the highs here on IBIT. And that 370, hot knife meets butter on Tesla. But I am going to take this IBIT break through the top as we did not get the dip buy that we're looking for.
Man.
These are not the droids you're looking for.
We already have, so IBIT's already ready to go. We're taking 59 if that breaks. I'm not even looking at it right now. My focus, obviously, and I would just kind of like laughed at that right there. There goes Tesla again, man. Tesla breaking through 371 now, and we just took some more out right there. Okay, we're into IBIT right now again. So there's the break on IBIT. We'll trade this. We'll see where it's going. Right now, I'm still trying to watch out for Robinhood, but IBIT, again, we knew we wanted this break higher, so let's just start to piece it out a little bit. We'll see if there is going to be a fade back in on Bitcoin, but there it goes, man. We're long right now at 01s here. So, all right, so far so good, but we'll wait. We'll have to give it a second. Tesla, good couple outs there as it's giving a little bit back.
Nvidia double top now as well, by the way. 146 on Nvidia, double top incoming. Oh, it just didn't dip really far enough there for NVDA. By the way, Tesla's at 71. I think you got to think about 75 at this point, but NVIDIA looks like it wants it next. I'm just going to double check AMD. It hasn't gotten yet above VWAP. AMD didn't break the top at 144 and didn't give you a pullback into 142, so it's still diddling in the middle. No trade setup, unfortunately, for AMD, which is why the pivot to NVIDIA here on this 146. So double top breakout. Looming here on NVDA. If you got a dip buy into 145, congratulations. Obviously, attentions were elsewhere when that happened. But let's see if NVIDIA can make this break. Yesterday's highs cleared. Now a clean double top. Remember, the NASDAQ is still underneath overnight resistance. So you got to be in something that's leading. I wouldn't want to be long a laggard or taking a breakout on some kind of on a lagging stock. It's underneath resistance. But NVIDIA trying to make the break here.
All right. So we got some out of IBIT there in and around that 59.10, 59.07 area. It failed there. We didn't want to break if it was going to fail, and it looks like right now fail she be doing right now. But we'll wait. We do have VWAP down there at 58.70, which is kind of what I'm looking at in and around that area for IBIT. And again, just waiting to see. I punched a little bit out there at O's when it came back in. So just trying to tell you guys what we're doing again. And it's kind of the same logic for me in all of this. We've made our week on Tesla. So it's like, let's not get too carried away with all these great ideas right now, because again, you can always give back, and it's just not a charity over here. And we're trying to make sure that we are able to put some money in our pocket and keep it there. With that being said, Robinhood will take out another out right there for Robinhood. So nice play there as we continue to go. And Tesla, go there to the upside. Like, we would have been able to take the rest of the month off if we had held our shares. But we'll wait now and see what happens here with Tesla, hopefully giving us another opportunity. Like you said, man, that 375 would be fan-damn-tastic, as we still got an upsized position over here.
Yeah, so by the way, NVIDIA did not hold that breakout. Still had a little bit of a hiccup. And then we saw this with Palantir, where you broke a 146 you broke it on Palantir, that 70 level, and nobody was buying above it except for the breakout price. When that happens, I'm jumping out, and I'm only going to go for the dip buy. That's what happened over on Palantir. So and that's what's going to happen here on NVIDIA. But if you're taking a breakout trade, the way I look at it, I don't mind taking a hit. Like when Palantir doesn't work or when NVIDIA doesn't work, slap a small loss on it, and then try to make the win on the one that does go, right? So you're still having the nice break over there on Tesla. IBIT is still continuing to hold out. It did hang on to the prior high, which was right under here. That's 58.85. That's the prior bar resistance level. So as long as it holds on to that level, then I like Bitcoin here, still above the 103. If you're watching spot prices, actually that's Binance. Binance is always a little bit iffy. You're at 103.5. So you are pretty much on the line at the overnight high level. You break away from this, and you can see explosion into the 104, into the 104.5, Randy. It's a Bitcoin party, but Tesla just crashed it, and crashed it in a big way and said, who cares about Bitcoin? Let's go.
Yeah. Randy, $9 in the money on this one, and it was not on anything to sneeze about. Nice move up, and we just topped out there and got another piece out at 372.75. And on here, Randy, this is the Tesla sticky note here. Pick up the mic, Randy. I want you to tell people what the trade was on Tesla today. Just
only 363 long.
Long 360
multiple upgrades and price target. Yikes! You called it. Risk it.
We're going, Randy. Nice move there on Tesla, as now it's a 10 spot right there. Again, have the confidence. This is. You don't hear it, and Randy, we talk about this all the time. It's about share sizing and picking the right trades for the right share size, because you could lose a lot on an opportunity that you don't think is as great as this because you didn't have the proper risk on it. But when I said in the pre-market that this was going to be a spot where we'd put on a little bit extra risk. And I'm happy to do it there today, especially when it works, because sometimes it doesn't. Did you ask if we want another coffee? Because that would be great.
I was gonna.
Anybody?
If you,
Anybody?
lemon tea, man.
Hello?
If I could. I'm just saying, I gotta drink some tea. That's all it is.
I probably have to drink a tea too, but I'll go for coffee here. All right, tea and coffee. Thank you, Randy, and thank you, Adara. What do you got?
I have MMM here. This is 3M, which is popping here on 4.8 relative volume. Though it is worth noting, we're only trading about 750,000 shares so far today. I cannot find a catalyst on this, but we've had strong volume bars here for the first two 15-minute candles today. A little bit of social media attention, but just be aware, MMM with a bit of a breakout here, up about 3.5%, guys.
Thank you very much there, Adara. Oh, by the way, there's a few other things that are making some decent, oh, come on, load, ARM.
We just got some AMD.
Making some decent moves. This is the disappointing one. ARM is about to break 104. Like, the market's coming back in heavily here. ARM is about to lose a flat bottom break any second. And you look over, thank goodness we got out of Nvidia. I know the NASDAQ is breaking down because Nvidia just took out 145 to the downside. Again, don't be stubborn about it, as we are starting to pull back relatively heavily here. IBIT's holding flat, so I guess that's okay. And then Apple, which was at another all-time high, right back into 243. So you're seeing a lot of failed breakouts. That's why I'm in a bit of a back-off mode. Like, if the long is working, hold it. And if it's not, wait for some kind of a setup that you can work yourself into. I think the crypto names are doing okay in here, a little bit better. And obviously, Tesla's doing okay. Coinbase is back off of those lows. So even this name not doing so well. Yeah, Bitcoin, sideways action, but I don't really mind it. Just keep an eye on these markets, as they are starting to pull back rather heavily on the NASDAQ there. I think led by Apple's pullback, led by Nvidia's pullback.
Yeah, we got into a new position right here. So on AMD, we just said we would try to see about this 43. So again, in spirit of not catching falling knives, we're going to take a starter position right now on AMD and just wait to see where we go from here. So we had written down 142 as a possible area for some support, but the 200 period is right here at 70s. So we wanted to see if we could try to hold out some hope for that level. So on AMD, it is going to be a new position for me. And I just kind of want to I'll put an equal amount down here at 142.80, just where we just sort of bounced off at. But realistically, I'm still waiting to see about this 42 area. And then maybe, like I said, if you're going to go long, you got to sort of wait to see what happens at 141.50, which is right into there. And then that very bottom yesterday is 141. So just be careful with all of that. So just be alert and figure out what's going on. So that's what's going on with AMD right now. We're long into that one, and we just took some more out on IBIT again. So I wish for this thing to keep on ripping up. We've been taking some profits. It did drip down for us there, so we were not too sure. And we'll figure it out what's going on here.
Any guesses what just double bottomed at an even dollar level? And don't look at my screen. And it might have been $70.
Uber?
Palantir.
Oh, Palantir. Okay.
Something is going on at $70 in Palantir, everybody. A shout out to everyone in the chat that mentioned this name was there. If you have been trading Palantir and you haven't been watching what's going on at 70, you're missing the entire party. look at this. 70 accumulation, there was some selling, insider selling, resistance, support. We like support turning into resistance. If the market's breaking lower and you want a long, you want it somewhere that there's strength. You're up 1%. You now have a support at the $70 level. Now, I'm not going to, if it goes there a third time, that doesn't make it a guarantee that it's going to hold 70 a third time. But it does give you a better chance than with the market at lows trying to find something that's bleeding like a you-know-what. So IBIT, I know Sean's also in it as well, that pulled back into VWAP. I'm going to zoom back in so you can see with a bounce. So it's on trend, but the rejection of 59 was a little heavier than before. And if I'm looking at what usually would be my rule, I got the dip buy, then I put up the trend line, saw that I bought the dip on a break of trend, and when it got back to the trend, usually I'd be shorting that, so I covered a bunch in there at the 59 when it got back to that price. This bar can still close above the trend line, but I don't like that look. If we lose VWAP, I want to jump out and look for the next trade over in IBIT. I know you went over to AMD. AMD is going to get close to that 142. That's the level I like. So if it gets a curl off that, we're going to have to be very, very patient. And then be careful because like Coinbase is headed lower, MSTR is on the lows, the market's on the lows. I'm looking for curl trades, but they have to give you an actual entry setup. I don't want to just be catching a falling knife. Hence the patience waiting for the 142. I'd like to see a nice little curl here on one of these crypto names as Bitcoin's still holding near the highs. So I want to catch a mean revert. I don't know about MSTR as the first place I want to go. Part of me is still leaning into Robinhood because where I got out before, it's now holding the $40 level. Like the initial bounce was pretty solid, but it then lost that bid pretty good. But if it can wick the bottom, reverse it, then there can be a 40 long back into 39.80. But it's got to give me that good setup. So IBIT's back on trend, but I do want to see one of these others mean revert, and then I can punch a long.
Joe knows what's going on. Yeah, so do we all. I mean, great trade over there. Good trade by Neil there on Tesla, but this is now at 374. So we're going to take out another piece of Tesla right there for $10 now. I just wish we had held the whole stupid thing. All right, nice move to the upside right there. We'll continue to look at it. Another out for me at 374 on Tesla. All right, so IBIT, I'm going to still be talking about mostly the same names here. I'm in 4 of them. So we'll have to watch out now. IBIT, again, a little bit of a move higher. We'll get something out at 08s again, see if we're able to do that. There it is. We take the fill. And we're just doing this because this is what we do. Like I said, average in, make sure that we get the right prices. And if they don't, then we lose those prices, right? And then just like what's happening right now with AMD, again, the posted level that we wrote down here, 42s. So that's what just came in. So we'll take some out here. If we do get a little bit of a bounce, we're long now at 48s on AMD. So not super great against this level, but right now I do have that offer to get a little bit out, stop some of the bleeding there, take something out in and around this 30 level, and then see if we can't climb just a little bit more here on AMD and let this one work itself out. As again, I'm trading all of the names I mentioned on here: AMD, Tesla, Hood, and IBIT. The only name that we haven't looked at today was SMR. So let's go have a quick look at that and see what this is doing. So again, oh my, wow. So it drops right into the levels that we wrote down, 2250 for SMR. Where am I bidding? 22, I think 55s or something like that for SMR. And we missed it. We're actually bidding 2275 right now for SMR. So we missed SMR by 3 pennies. What's the low of the day? 2271. I don't think that's probably not true. I'm bidding it and we missed it. But there's another trade for us. So again, always good to look back to see what your notes tell you about that. So right now, AMD back into 142. We've got some shares. We're long right now. Let's just figure out what's going on here. AMD trying to push into that 142. If it drips too much below that, we're going to get out. The market, not worth fighting today. Downside here, markets.
Yeah, this market is actually starting to bleed. Well, you did get the press back above 40 on Hood after it kind of tried to break that trend. So long at 40, stop at underneath that 39.80 local bottom. This is what we were looking for in terms of like a lower mean revert off of that 40 level. And I'm looking for the same thing out of AMD, only it's dropped obviously a heck of a lot lower. So it's a very, very steep trend. I like a mean revert when a trend is that steep, and it's now into the support zone at that 142. but it's got to give me that bottoming tail candle or the clean break of trend. Right now, it's looking like the bottoming tail candle is going to be coming in here. Again, you just want to have some kind of an execution strategy. If we can hold above 142.25, I'm going to like that. Thomas just said Intel is tanking to 9. I'd take a peek, but I don't want to get distracted. I think we called Intel a bit of a nothing burger on the, it was the ASML. They got a chairman, or they got a member of the board. It's not, I don't think it's board chair or anything. Yeah. They got a member of the board from ASML, which I think is a good idea, but I also consider it a nothing burger because people want to see some defined direction here, maybe on the CEO level. So AMD's in there. It just held the quarters long enough to get me in at 26, 42.26. I love that number. But if we can't hold on to 42, I'm going to jump out and look for a better entry. Robinhood, on a similar idea, is working a little bit nicer with the break of trend at that 40 level. It's now back up into the quarters. So this one working, AMD, probably not at this point. So I want to make sure we're getting out into 40, into 46, take 2/3 out into that, and then try to hold for VWAP on a mean reversion play. Because when you're playing against the grain, you usually want to have take profits. This is not something that has been strong. It's a stock that's been bleeding all morning. So a lot of times this can be a consolidation for another push down. You want to take advantage of this 40 while it is at least lasting. And Dara, thank you for putting that in the chat. Former CEO of ASML and is joining the board.
So for those of you that are normally, like Neil and I, we normally will trade different names, but we have exactly the same names on right here. So, and I think that's important to know, like when things are hitting and things have been working, you go over to what's working, you know.
Actually, it's interesting because...
And we've been doing that, right? So that's exactly what it's all about right there. And you know, that's part of the game. So trade what you think is right and what's been happening and trade in your space. And there goes AMD right there, dropping below 142. So there's the breakout. So both trading AMD, both creating failed opportunities and losers right there. So there goes AMD, nice move to the downside right now, breaking through that 142, but it was a level of interest. So we'll, you know, we'll still stay on here and have a quick look to see what winds up happening right there with AMD, but it is a fall back in for that name. All right, like now my biggest position by far right now is IBIT because we just got out of AMD and we just got another piece out on IBIT as it continues to go higher and higher and higher. And this is why sort of when we talk about piecing things out on the upside, it's kind of like this on Tesla. It's like, you know, you have to get out when certain moves are happening. You could always reload them, but there's also nothing wrong with holding and trying to get the maximum position out of everything as well, right? So let's wait to see what happens here with IBIT. Maybe we could continue to go higher here the rest of the day. That would be swell. And then there comes Tesla really dripping back in right now. So again, we've taken profits on this one. I don't have that much left of Tesla. I'd say about 5 or 6% left here on TSLA. So a couple good outs here, and it looks like it is fading back in. Was that a call from Mr. Dara?
I think so.
All right, it's happening now.
For the first time this week, we actually have the Q slightly underperforming the S&P 500. S&P is actually green right now on the day. Q is down about 0.1% as of right now. No economic data as of right now at 10 a.m., but we did get here a higher than expected initial jobless claims and a slightly higher than expected U.S. trade balance that was coming through there at 8:30 a.m. We'll get a couple comments, both of which are from Fed's Barkin later in the day, so keep an eye on some Fed's Barkin speeches coming through during the midday. One of the biggest catalysts today that we have to talk about is Bitcoin. I have MSTR up here, maybe trying to base out a little bit here around that 419 level, but Microstrategy and a lot of these other crypto stocks on watch as Bitcoin surpasses the $100,000 level for the first time last night. That rally in Bitcoin is highly speculated to be inspired by a couple factors, including the fact that we did have the SEC chair appointment or nomination there announced by President-elect Trump as Paul Atkins. That's viewed as a good look for crypto. Jerome Powell also talked about crypto yesterday, compared it to gold in terms of its value as an asset. So that's an interesting look. We do have, of course, strength in some of these Mag 7 names like Tesla, but then we have Nvidia, which is chopping around here on the day. I was just reading apparently that NVDX, which is the 2x levered ETF, just crossed $1 billion of assets under management for the first time, so great look there. But also here, Reuters reporting that TSM and Nvidia are in talks with regards to Blackwell production there at TSM's artificial or Arizona plant. And last but not least, AAPL up about 10%. This one's staying really strong today so far. They did guide higher than expected adjusted earnings per share for Q4. LUV, so Southwest Airlines, was also on watch this morning with a buyback announcement. Lots to take a look at. Make sure if you're enjoying the show that you take a minute to like, subscribe, and join our community. Back to you guys.
Oh no, did it not work?
I heard it.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, but it cut off for a split second there. A couple of things here. I'm going to get to Bitcoin in a quick second, but Robinhood just got back up to the 4070 level. So it did make the regression that we're looking for. Again, sometimes you're just better off with your execution plan. I got in off the level, and when it's trending down, sometimes you want that trend to avert. I have an offer out in front of the 80 level. If it does lose this level here, I'll probably get some out at the 4050 and then wait for 40. It's now a double bottom on Robinhood. IBIT just might have wicked me out. I had just gotten a reload off VWAP, and it got me to 90. But if we hold right back above 5880 on IBIT, then I'm going to like it and just probably jump right back in. What did happen is you got to the actual high, the all-time high on Bitcoin again, and pulled back. So I think you're in the midst of that pullback, but look at this lower high here at 103. As long as we hold the 103, that's a trade I want to jump back into. So Hood's still doing okay. Tesla, obviously, is still holding on at this point, but it's got a bit of a rounded top there on TSLA. But it's IBIT I got to get myself back into. And as far as AMD goes, did not follow an execution rule there. Now it's actually closing above the trend line. Like, that's a very big difference. Like, there's your trend down. There is your close above the trend line. So on Robinhood, we waited for it to do this. On AMD, I did not. And so now I'm going to get into AMD, if I can pick it up here, as it's now given you at least some reason to, or at least for myself, an execution reason to get into the trade. There's a heck of a lot also moving, by the way. I just want to go over to Nvidia to acknowledge if Nvidia loses the bid, it might not matter any technical on AMD. So fail breakout on Nvidia, but it is now holding that pre-market low. I do like that look, but if we lose the bid here, it might be a good reason to take something out of Advanced Micro Devices. But we're back in it, and we'll see what happens. Obviously, it hasn't been a good one so far, but IBIT I do need to get myself back into. That was clearly a wick out.
Yeah, we got reloaded maybe on that wick, but we got reloaded down there at 80s, so that might have been that exact wick, I think, right there. And sometimes I'll punch Neil, he'll punch me, and it looks like that was right there. I'm going to try to get some out because I do agree, man. It looks like it is trying to fail up here. But, I mean, it's also just kind of coiling up. So we take that bid on VWAP, of course. That's what we wanted to do. So we did that one. We're back into AMD. And that's about it, man. Let's talk about something else. We missed SMR by 3 cents, which kind of sucks. Hopefully that will come back in. Let me have a quick look at SMR to see if that does come through. Futures right now, I mean, I know we've traded that really well lately. We've talked about that, but I'm going to stay away right now from the futures. It doesn't seem to be doing too much here, kind of just hanging out 0.10. You know, that top wasn't super significant, 21,550. And this bottom of maybe 21,500 could have been looked at. But then when you're looking at the NASDAQ, we barcoded here for a while. So we'll have to wait. I'd rather maybe play the short if it does come back in through that level rather than try to catch, like I was saying, some falling knives and whatnot. All right, so AMD's coming back in. Hood's going now, obviously, and IBIT. There was another
Intel is
name.
not where I was thinking it was.
No, it wasn't Intel. Hold on a second. I want to say this, and this is, I know this is your bank too, but TD today is down 6%, and like I'm guessing, we talked about it. We never really talk about Canadian bank earnings, but I'm guessing
they reported.
Yeah, so again, a pretty big situation here for TD. Now, I just want to say, like most of the Canadian banks are generally
all
around
of the Canadian banks.
Yeah, reported. Yeah. No, but I'm saying most of the Canadian banks kind of move in similar fashions. If you're looking to maybe pick up some kind of value or something like that, I mean, TD is in a world of hurt. So I don't think you want to catch the falling knife. But this, I just want to bring it to everyone's attention because I was looking at the chart. It just broke below this level. And without zooming back out, this is like a major bank here in Canada, one of the top 6, of course, and just really getting pummeled down there. So I just want to, if you're in any bank ETFs or something like that, and just, opposed to something like a Royal Bank or whatever, I'm not in Royal Bank or TD Bank, so it doesn't really affect me, but I just wanted to show you guys, like, this is, different things are happening in the space here. So to all of our Canadian viewers, definitely dig deep into that into that TD number, because definitely appears to be, anyways, giving some decent value down there. If you are looking for support and resistance levels, could be a decent spot to start with. But there goes IBIT again. So I'm going to actually now start taking more out. I mean, this is exactly the style that we're trying to do. Trade off at key levels, trade things that we like, try to hold them for as much as we can. The only mistrade for me was not getting more Robinhood down there. I didn't even realize it came to 40, so I'm glad that Neil got that. But again, another trade that's listed right here. 40 support rate, listed on the sticky note. So great couple notes the last couple days, and we've been reaping the benefits of it. And I really hope that some of you have been as well. So today, the only mistake so far really has been AMD on the track of it. I mean, Robinhood early started to come back in. We're able to get it back now. But this AMD not holding this 143, 142, and eventually taking that dollar hit, breaking through, or I don't think it was $1, but breaking through that 142.50, boom, nice downside play there. So, and then Tesla, I know you're still in it, but this is the thing. It's pulled back a lot, man. It's pulled back $4. So I'm still in it as well, and only in a piece, but we've already gotten decent pieces out. I think I'm going to put another one around 373. So just see if we can take something out there and work off that. So I'm going to put an order at 373 flat, actually, and just offer that and see if we can get it back with more trading excitement after Adara.
Roblox really strong here, up about 4.4% here. At or near high of days. It's interesting, all of these 15-minute volume candles so far, that's about 1 million shares of volume. So lots of interest here in RBLX, which does not have a catalyst that I can find. A little bit of social media attention. It does have a short float of 4.84%. Roblox killing it this morning.
Big move upside on Roblox. Big move downside on Intel, which when the people were screaming about Intel, I was like, oh, that stock's not going up. There's no long opportunity there. Yeah, it was going down a little bit faster than I was anticipating. So the second time in a row, they've announced moves, and when it's not, give us a new CEO with a new vision, the stock bleeds. The only level down here, it's not going to go SSR or anything, but $20.80. I look at a stock this sharply down, and I want to do some kind of a mean revert on it. So it's obviously, like, the trend is nasty here, but if this one breaks the trend back up, it's a go zone type trade. When you have that kind of a move to the downside, just for a scalp trade. I mean, if it closes above trend line and then play back into VWAP, you can get a nice little scalp trade. I mean, when Robinhood did it, it wasn't even nearly as, like, it was a dump and then a consolidation. So it's not exactly the same type of setup. By the way, Hood did get to 40.80 and is now putting in a higher low. If it comes a third time to 40, I'm going to look for another bounce off 30 and see if we can't grab it. But yeah, I didn't notice that Intel was dropping as fast as everybody else was. Everyone was sort of talking about Intel. I thought you guys were saying it was going up. That's my bad. I didn't realize it was dropping like an absolute rock. Mara back above VWAP. If you're looking at some of these non-Bitcoin or crypto-related names that aren't Bitcoin. Coinbase, however, weak, dipping back under VWAP. This is while Bitcoin's back above that 103 level. And then MSTR, for those that have asked, MSTR is bleeding. So it is also going counter trend. So you've really got to be like IBIT strong or holding strength, coins meh, MAR is strong, MSTR is weak. They're all over the place. You've got to trade these at this moment on their own merit. I think at some point there'll be a little more convergence with some of these crypto names, but specifically MSTR is bleeding. For myself, the next trade, and it might not even happen now because I drew the trend line. I'm like, okay, we're about to try to break it on Intel. It just took out the low again. So we're going to have to be real patient for this setup. It might be at $21 or $20.50 by the time it takes this reverse, but I'm looking for that reverse trade here on Intel at this point, and I'm not going to just sit there on the bid. It's not looking good for them at all. Maybe it just needs to go down like 5% or something.
Yeah, I'm going to give this.
Wow.
Yeah. No, I didn't realize. I mean, Intel. It's funny because we had that marker on there, thinking that we were going to go up on that Gelsinger, and it just kind of never really got its base there. So we'll find it out. I still like that 22 area, and I know we were just talking about it, so we'll have to wait to see if there is any sort of push back and forth on that one. It looks like right now Bitcoin 103.5 is looking like it's some sort of a level because it's just holding this. Like I'm trying to trying to let this breathe a little bit here with IBIT, right? I mean, and trying to give it a little bit of space, but at the same time, we have to make sure that we're taking profit when we see the profit man come in here. So that's what we're trying to do. Wait to see if there's going to be any opportunities in the space for IBIT. But again, if we drop too much below, what's up, Joe? What are we doing that? Oh, no, that must have been a mistake. That must have been a mistake. All right, so 58 right there. The 200 period's 58.70 there. So that's something that I'm looking at as well for that. So just a quick little look there on what we're doing with IBIT. Tesla, we just talked about I was literally, as I talk about my kids all the time, literally, Dad, I was waiting at 373. I'm gonna go to 372.50 right now. Looks like we had a good level there, but it did bounce off of it. So we're gonna try to get out. We're gonna get out of 20% of what we have left, but that's only like 5% or so of what we had initially. So there it is. Nice take. It just came right in there. So good little level there for us on Tesla. Pretty happy to get that out. And then Robinhood, we took out another piece right here as well. So good out on Robinhood, 80s and then again 50s, as now it's coming all the way back in. You can't have a winner until you take that profit. So we're trying to take a little bit more out there. I still like the VWAP, and I'm a little disappointed there in Robinhood today. All right, so AMD, we wait. We're back into this long game on advanced micro devices. Let's see if it wants to work. Long at 17s.
So, I just heard there was a halt.
Something about Fox or something?
Fox halted?
I'm not.
So this isn't halted. What's going on with Uber?
Oh, no.
Right now.
You're not. That's a whole.
No, I don't see a story on Uber. Uber is down 3%. Look, I thought Intel was the ugliest looking chart that I was pulling up this morning that didn't report earnings. No, Uber, while down a lower percentage, this is really starting to bleed. It just broke $70 and is accelerating to the downside. Good news is that there's support down, like double barrel support at 68. So, man, I hate only looking at, hey, let's look for some mean reversions on dips, but the truth is, there's a few that are setting up here. So watch out for this 68 level on Uber, as I don't know what is necessarily going on. I didn't hear anything with it. I just threw it in, and I don't see a story. I'm going to guess it's a huge volume through the low of the day. Obviously, there's a little something going on here with Uber. I mean, is it a Tesla up, Uber down thing? I don't know. Maybe that's too simplistic, but Uber bleeding here. I like that 68 level. I'm just going to mark that one off. And if we get down there on Uber, I got to pay attention to it. The other name that's been talked about a lot, well, you didn't get a third crack at 70 on Palantir. It just didn't happen. Now you got to look at 71. Wow. VWAP's at 71, 70. Every even dollar has been gold on Palantir the last couple of days in terms of significance. So let's look for a dip back into 71. As you can see, it just tagged 72 and is holding here. So maybe we look at this 71 level and are able to get a retracement back into VWAP. I think you want to join trend. From right now, I'm looking at join trend on a dip. VWAP I like. IBIT, Palantir. Mean reversion on Intel, which it's still going down, so there's no entry yet. And then this 40. Here comes a third time here on Robinhood at that $40 level. Would like to see it show a bounce. Got front end last time, didn't work. Got back end last time, did work. So we'll look to catch this on the back end of Robinhood. We'll keep layer to the ground on Uber. Good shout out in the chat. Still not sure what's going on there.
Yeah, chat undefeated. So shout out to everybody up in that chat.
Might be worth a buy.
And we always need to get new ideas floating through there. I'm just making sure I don't get out of too many just in case just in case this actually goes higher right here. What I'm looking at is AMD. I'm still trying to see about that support level in and around 42s, so that's going to be something for me that I'm trying to look at right now. Are we going to have luck at trying to play off of 42 long? It doesn't look like it. Trying to break a little bit lower right now is AMD. We've been getting out of it there, but we only had one out. So here it is right into the low of the day again, as the futures are not doing much. So not much to sort of hang our hat on here with advanced micro devices yet, but so far, so good on holding it. We'll have to wait to see how further, though, it has to go to the downside here with AMD, because for right now, just waiting to see if it holds this area. We're going to give it down to 41.50. We talked about that earlier. That was a stopping spot yesterday. I don't I mean, look, if it gets down into here, you're going to be questioning like, hey, why not just hold it for that little bottom break? That's 41.40s. So that's where I'm going to hold it to. That's that sort of 50 area that I was talking about. I'd hate for this one to lose today, but it already has all the way to the downside. So maybe, again, we talked about trading relative strength versus weakness. We're going against the grain with our thoughts here about AMD right now. So 141.50, the last sort of line in the sand, and we've gotten out of some of this, but not a lot. So hopefully AMD can come back in, give us a little bit of reload ahead of that 41.40 area. So that's what I'm thinking about here with Uber, and AMD. Sorry, not Uber, AMD.
And speaking of stock trades, Trade the Pool allows stock traders like you, everybody, to get evaluated and trade real shares using the company's capital with no PDT rule holding you back. Trade the Pool has just launched a limited edition program for a one-time fee of just $300. You'll receive $80,000 in buying power and the chance to become a funded trader.
Boom.
Hit a profit target of just 4% and you'll start trading with the company's capital. Get funded faster and easier with the new conditions designed for success. And the best profit split has been upgraded to a generous 70%. So you keep more of what you earn. Don't wait, check it out now and see how Trade the Pool can help you trade bigger and better. Scan that QR code you see in front of you. Check out the description in the video. Check out the link in the description of this video as Trade the Pool. Shout out to them. And of course, they have the competition ongoing.
Yeah.
I'm going to take a wild stab and say that anybody who's doing well in that competition probably had Tesla today. Call that an educated guess.
I hope so.
Just a couple of things here. There hasn't been a bounce yet off of 40 on Robinhood. And then Intel did just do trust me, this was a bottoming tail candle 2 seconds ago where it held 21 even, got down to 90. So got down to 90, then re-held 21 even. I then hit when it went through 21 and through my stop at the low of the day. So if it makes a fresh low, I'm going to be out of Intel here. Down now 4.5%. I did want to also go back over to show you guys PLTR. It's kind of pulling back, but not much of a pullback yet. So I want this one at VWAP. I don't want to chase this one at the top. I think you're getting your opportunity soon, hopefully. Oh, Robinhood just lost. Okay, Robinhood just made a fresh low.
Robinhood just lost, yep.
I'm now out of it. I didn't reload it, but I still think as long as it's within like a quarter of that 40 level, it can still do a rounded bottom. It just needs to show me another mean revert, like another, let's make a low, let's revert a trend, let's hold a higher low, something along those lines. I don't want to give up on it completely, but even like Intel there, we took the 21, it broke the prior low, we're out. Just need to catch one mean revert, but I have to wait for the next one to set up. So if it doesn't set up, then I don't have to take it. You're even getting a bit of a drop here in Bitcoin. I'm just going to throw on over. I know IBIT, still looking at that bid off of VWAP, but you're getting a pullback into 103 here onto Bitcoin. If we don't hold that level, 102.5 has been support this morning as well. And it's 10:20. My goodness, time is flying. Let's get to Adara and the small cap recap.
IW, I'm just breaking below previous support. If you can see here on that 15-minute chart, we had held that 239.65 area pretty nicely. We had one touch there, another touch yesterday. Today, we top and turn around that level, and then we've just broken below it on this most recent candle. Let's take a look at some of these tickers today. HUT, actually a bit of a larger cap name, relatively speaking, about $2.9 billion market cap. I wanted to bring this up because it is running on that 100,000K Bitcoin milestone. It is a crypto name. Also yesterday, they announced they entered into an equity offering sales agreement to sell up to $500 million worth of stock. They also launched a $250 million buyback program. So it could be a day two move on this as well for HUT, which does have a bit of a short float there. Then we have VRNT, Variant Systems. They have about a 6% short float. Also a slightly larger market cap, about $2.1 billion market cap. Yesterday, they did announce earnings. They had sales and earnings per share up on a year-over-year basis. Guidance here was a little bit mixed for fiscal 2025. Last but not least, FOXX. I know Neil mentioned this one. I'm not seeing any catalyst on this. Be aware this is very volatile. There's been a lot of halts, and it has a pretty small float here, 1.23 million shares. Usually you see this kind of action in ADRs, but FOXX is actually a U.S. company, so be aware of this small cap. Pretty volatile, guys. Be careful.
Thank you very much, Adora. I appreciate the credit for it. Did I mention FOXX? I did? Okay.
All right.
I must be getting real old then. I remember talking about Uber. We talked about Palantir. I actually don't remember mentioning that Fox. It is that halt.
Might have been earlier.
No, there was. Yeah, it's the only thing that actually showed up on my halt indicator. Oh, there's ZVZZT a few times today. So I'm actually out of Tesla. And I was ignoring something that usually, it's like, what am I doing very differently on Tesla? Well, let's look at what happened here. It broke trend with a fail of this 373 area, like right in here. That's like an exit rule. Now, you don't have to be short on it. But when it got back up and failed it a few times, it said, if it does it one more time, I'm going to jump out so that I can have a more clear-eyed view of what I think could happen next, which is either we're breaking 375 or a dip back into 369 or VWAP at 370. Like this initial breakout trade, like it gave you the push to 60, it gave you the scalp to 65, it gave you the pull. I think obviously 68 is kind of a random number. It gave you the push into 70, and then the 75, you get a bit of a topping tail multiple times. I think the next trade is either the 70 or the VWAP or the 375 breakout trade on Tesla. And now I'm not even in anything at this point. It's like, and why? Intel is, it's bleeding. That's the best way to think about it. So it's now through 721. You're headed for a 20.5 level, maybe even a 20 level as well. You're now back underneath. You're at 102 change on Bitcoin. AMD just can't seem to hold on to it at all. Like every time I've taken it twice here, and both times it hasn't been able to hold. This time I give it the wide berth under 42, give it a tight stop on a mean revert, and it's now headed for yesterday's lows. So it's about, if you like looking for a long, you got to wait for the absolute support levels to come in. And this one's another 50 cents. Uber's trying to, Uber, there's obviously something going on here.
Yeah, how did we missed that?
It's now at $69. So that 68 levels incoming on Uber. One of these two, whether it's Intel or Uber, that's going to be the next trade if it's not Tesla. Because the chance of even a scalp trade on a mean revert, Uber is absolutely bleeding right now. And this feels a little bit heavy without seeing a major headline. I have X up as well, and I still haven't seen anything crazy. But this is
yeah. There has to be something.
This isn't obviously this is abnormal, but it's gotten me out of pretty much all the longs. Thankfully, obviously Tesla did pretty well, and Robinhood did well, but AMD didn't work, and Nvidia didn't work, and we had that in and out on Intel that didn't work. You just have to be very patient looking for those curls at this point. And then the next trade on Tesla, is it going to be 70 or VWAP? Gotta let the stock dictate that to me. But there hasn't even been a green. The last green candle on Uber on a 3-minute was at 9:57, and this is what it looked like. It wasn't even a bounce. So any kind of a bounce here, like this could bounce $1 in 5 minutes. The way it's going down. The same thing with Intel, but it has to break trend first.
So I went long small here because we do have a level down here of $68 that I think we could probably hold. So we'll try that. It's $1 away from now, but as Neil said, maybe we can bounce back up a little bit. We'll average it in if it does come back in, but I want to have a starter position on now for Uber in case we do bounce back up. I like the story of bouncing back higher now, so let's give it a chance. Again, a major move there. Now that Adara is back there, she's going to look. She's been looking for Uber, so. Yeah, so we're already looking for this, but it is a move down here for Uber. And again, we'll just wait for it and see if we get a little bit of a correction move back in. But I'm going to be bidding that $68 now on Uber. It looks like, again, like I can't win for losing here on AMD, it seems like, because there's the hold right at that level of 140-150. So let's wait to see where it goes now. But again, I like this stock. I like what we're doing here with AMD at these levels. It has not been great, though, or very kind to me today. Tesla still continues to go to its highs again. We'll wait to see if we are able to get anything here on that. But for right now, Tesla in and around these highs. I like it. We'll see if it can hold, though. TSLA bouncing up to 375. That's my next area right now, 375, an area that I'm looking at.
Yeah, and I know you're in Uber, but this is, okay, it just closed above. It just got to close above the trend here for the first time in a long time. So, and okay, I think we're going to be going to Darren in a quick little second, but it's now closed the bar above the trend line, opened the fresh one. I'm looking for the curl there, but also at the same time, Intel doing the same thing. All right, I typed NY just very quickly. Intel doing pretty much the same thing. Let's go on over to Adara. Maybe we have the story.
Yeah, I figured out what's happening here with Uber. It's actually not specifically Uber related. It's more of an antipathy play, which is why it took a second to find it. But basically what happened here, Waymo this morning, which is of course owned by Google, they announced they're going to expand to Miami and they're going to launch their robotaxi service there by 2026. So that looks like to be a little bit of an issue here for UBER. Everything I'm seeing online here indicates this might be a bit of an antipathy play. So just be aware here. That could be what's pushing UBER to the downside. I also want to pull up Barrick Gold, which is getting a bit of a volume spike here. Molly apparently has issued an arrest warrant for the CEO of Barrick Gold, but Barrick Gold said they're not going to be commenting on these reports. Reuters reporting that apparently CEO of GOLD getting arrested in Mali, guys, or warrant for his arrest in Mali.
Yeah, that's going to be.
They ain't got him yet. That's what that means.
Yeah, that's going to be a nothing burger, I feel like. Okay, so just pay attention to that one if you guys are all over that. Yeah, I mean, we talked about taking a little bit of a risk on Uber. We'll take out some levels there in the 30s and get a piece out. So thanks for that news there, Miss Adara, as we'll continue to watch out for more, right? I mean, we never know where it's going to go. So we'll still keep on some offers. My next offer is at 70, so maybe we can get going here on Uber and really make a decent trade out of it today. So that's what I'm going to look for here on Uber. Again, like the stock, like it for the long term. We sort of did talk about that there. I've been buying it up. Let's see if it works out. But right now, 69 and change for Uber. I'm in the name, but not loving it today as it continues to make moves lower. It's a $10 winner on Tesla and still going, so we'll hold on to that one. My biggest position now, of course, because we did get stopped out of our Robinhood and IBIT, by the way. IBIT is tanking. So we talked about, I don't want to say tanking, but that's a decent move right there. We talk about this with Brian Shannon all of the time, and it's about being a risk manager, and it's like, there's your out. If I was looking at this, I would have got out probably 10 cents earlier.
Sean's chart.
Because the 200 period moving average, but there it is right there, absorbing all of that, but right back into 58. I didn't really write down any levels other than the 200 period moving average on IBIT, so we'll have to wait to see if that's going to come back into play again. But for right now, we do have a nice downside move here in the market. So, in IBIT and the Bitcoin market. The actual equity market seems to be relatively healthy right now, but we'll wait to see. All right, so now we just basically wait for AMD. That's gonna be my next trade to come today. We have DocuSign. We have a couple good earnings plays later on tonight. Come on, let's go, man. There goes Tesla. Oh my God, Neil. Tesla's big time face slapper right now, up to 375. There goes Tesla, now $12 in the money and starting to go even more. Bye-bye 375. Ciao, nice knowing you. Until then, right back in again. I see you went long there. Watch out. Nice move to the backside. I did not. I was watching it, but not clear enough. Wow, what a rejection.
That was an instant. And if you guys were on it, that was an instant break the high and then instantly back under. I wasn't even on. Sorry, guys, I wasn't even on the level 2 of Tesla in that moment. But I got in and out. Why does it say short? I'm not short Tesla. That was an in and out on the 375 break. I did take the break, but we're instantly out. I'm going to get out of a breakout right away. You hold the ones that work. I'm not holding one that doesn't work, not my style. It'd be nice if that was a short trade, but it's not. Was that Adara again?
I'm not sure. I believe so.
Adara?
Maybe? Still.
Oh, okay.
What other story would be fit for the crypto update other than Bitcoin surpassing the 100,000 level for the first time? Every platform is going to have slightly different numbers. According to TradingView here, our high was just below that 104,000 level. Right now, we're trading around 102.3. So great look here for BTC to the USD. There are a couple different catalysts being speculated for running theirs. There was someone on Twitter yesterday that was trying to pump Bitcoin basically by saying that if Microsoft does choose to invest in Bitcoin at its investor meeting on December 10th, because that is a proposal, they believe Bitcoin could surpass 100,000. Clearly, it did that on its own. We also had comments from Fed Chair Jerome Powell yesterday at the Dealbook Summit saying that Bitcoin is actually more of a competitor with gold than it is with the USD because they're both more speculative assets. So that's also been viewed as a bit of a bullish look. The last bullish point for Bitcoin that happened yesterday was Donald Trump's announcement that Paul Atkins, who was heavily suspected to be the new SEC nominee, has been confirmed as Donald Trump's nomination for the SEC chair position. Paul Atkins is viewed as a boon or a positive note there for crypto, so that's certainly a good look. We do have Bitcoin up about 6.5%. Ethereum was actually stronger earlier in the day. It was above that 39 area. Right now it's around 30, just below that 3,900 level. XRP, interestingly enough, breaking lower, but it's worth noting Ripple had its own little pop when the initial resignation of Gary Gensler was confirmed, so could be a little bit of a pullback on here. We have BNB to the downside as well, but Doge really strong here, Solana really strong here, Tron a little bit weaker as well here, guys, negative 7%. It's also interesting to me that Dogecoin is up 6% the same day that we have that massive rally in TSLA. Of course, Elon Musk heavily associated with not only Dogecoin, but also the new Department of Government Efficiency.
All right.
Oh, there was a note I was going to say. I was actually saying this to Sharif. When you consider that department, the Doge, if they're going to meet the targets that they set in there, which is like $2 trillion in cuts in the next 2.5 years, you're probably not going to be able to do it without any defense spending cuts. And if anybody's if you pull up a chart of like Lockheed, it actually might have some room to go to the downside even more. Just be careful with some of the defense names. Obviously, it's hard to cut. And you guys know, if you follow politics in the States, you guys know that. So a couple of things. There's a few mean reversions on. Uber was bouncing and not anymore. AMD it's finally curling. I've already taken 2 shots at this one on mean reversion. So this is the third one works. It's a 1 for 3. And then Intel as well. First shot didn't work. The second one didn't get the entry tight to here. We got it back when it got to 21, and then it dipped and held the 21 a couple of times. So we're back at the 21 level on Intel. Obviously AMD we just showed you. And then, I know, it's crazy.
Wow,
like,
Intel is really a...
And then Uber was going. So it did the mean revert. It was going. It got up to the $0.50, and it's now pulled right back in. So Uber still under a little bit of pressure here as we're watching that story unfold. Waymo operating in Miami, causing Uber to dip. But remember, it's got support on the daily chart here. Uber running into some trouble, but it's caught a little bit of a bid here. So let's see if it can go. Obviously, we missed a few small caps out there for everybody. That Fox, I just realized we didn't actually... Oh, no, that's not a... New York stock. That's hilarious. That Fox, I didn't pull up a level 2 of it. This is now going to take a second to load. Its high of the day was literally $9.99 on this Fox, if it ever loads. And it's back at the $4 level. But the concern, I think, is that if you're picking things up off the bottom, which I'm doing mean reversion longs off the bottom primarily because things have been tanking, you have an inside day in the market. And if we don't, ideally, if you catch a bid here, that's where you get a relief and the stocks have been weak. But if all you do is resolve lower highs into a check of the bottom, at some point got to give up on the mean revert and look for a short trade. And ultimately, I haven't even taken a single short trade. So I'm going to start looking for ideas short if we don't break this trend back up higher. At some point, you want to stop fighting and catching dip buys. It's fine. You catch a good one, and it can make up for a few paper cuts. But at the end of the day, if we keep trending down, the short's got to be an idea on its own as well, and start looking to hunt for some names to short.
Yeah, for right now, it seems like the short is what's going to be in play. I mean, some of these names can't get going. That fail on, unfortunately, on Tesla there might have sort of started something here right now. So we'll have to wait to see if we do get that pushback or not here in the market. I'm still on that AMD, just looking at the chart there. There's Uber. We took another piece out at 20, just getting my order set up for that play exactly. It does look like, and then AMD just came right back off that 50-period moving average right there. And the reason how we get some of these moving averages is through eSignal, and we love eSignal. You can click that QR code below right there and join the eSignal revolution. Trade with the best charts, and I mean, it's going to be reliable, up data. That's exactly what you're looking for. You want data that's going to be up, reliable. Take the best in the business here with the ICE exchange. Trade smarter, not harder. Analyze, strategize, capitalize. Infinite data, instant trading. Connected to over 50 plus brokers, app store, different things that you can go have a look at. Just download the platform, go check it out, see if you like it. I've been using it for over 20 years. The back testing is phenomenal. They have a great tick replay system there with eSignal. I like it. We've been using it here, and I support eSignal. And again, it's just an affiliate that we have with them. Go over there, have a look at it, see if you like it, let us know, but support it by clicking on to that link. That is eSignal. Join us today with using their product. All right, so look, man, right now, IBIT gave it up We can, yeah, thank you for that right there. Look what IBIT's doing though. Right down to 58 right now. So if we're going to look at some Bitcoin names, there's IBIT just with a little bit of a bleed there. I want to look at Mara as well as a potential name to look at one more time. So Mara, nice move down, about to go flat, right back into yesterday's levels. I just see the professor right here, and something that he always tells me is there's no more important print than the closing print. And yesterday, right here for Mara, we're right at that level again. It looks like we closed in and around right here, 26 bucks. We can go find out exactly, but for right now, Mara on the move downside right there. Areas to look for, 200 period. I mean, obviously we're well off of that. This is a 5-minute chart. So there's the 200 period right there. 25.50 maybe as an area. You do have top stops. Amazon's at 220. Okay, thank you for that one. We're going to have to watch out for Mara. But right now, we're sort of spinning around a little bit here with AMD. It's right back up to these levels. So I'm going to put another offer right there. There we go. Taken out for AMD at 08s or 07s. Now let's see if it goes a little bit higher on this one. We're only 40 cents in the money on this. We'd like to get it a little bit more than that. We're a quarter now in the money on Uber and hoping to see that one continue its move a little bit higher as well. Tesla fade a little bit, but for me, it's all about AMD. Let's see if we can get that name cooking right now. Uber upside, my offer's at 70. Maybe we'll get another one right now because that's a pretty good move on, again, a little bit of a negative story. I think probably overblown. Let's offer some 37s. If we get it, we get it. Right now, that's my look there on Uber and AMD. As we just took another piece out, but it's starting to go. I have an offer at 20s, which is right here again. So hopefully we can get something out if we continue to climb a little bit higher on AMD.
Market's trying to go green here, and it's the NASDAQ, I should say, is trying to go green. It's closer than the ES. The ES is, here, I'm just going to show you what we should show you when we're talking about it. The ES is actually breaking underneath support while the NASDAQ is catching a bid. So that's the easiest way to show you the divergence. You just heard what Amazon is doing.
I forgot to look at it.
So it's a very, very different story between the ES and the NASDAQ. So if I say the market is catching a bid, sorry, I meant the NASDAQ. Intel, look, it only got to 21.12. I was able to get something underneath the 21 level, but not much. Like most of the fills I've had have been at that $21 level. So my average price is going to stick to the 21 area. And if we get into VWAP, great. Got to look for VWAP to hold at this point. I don't want this losing 2090. It's been bleeding way too much for that. And then, okay, yeah, just jinxed it. Just jinxed it saying the market was catching a bid. I mean, AMD was just at that quarter mark and it pulls back. Uber was trying to bounce, even Intel. I'm going to jump over here and see if I can get something. If I have to take something at the 10s and this can only go 10 cents, then so be it. This market is absolutely flushing. And as you were just saying, or with Mara, like it could just be this party that we're looking for. It could just be that we could pull back into 100 on Bitcoin. And now that you're underneath the 102, start to look for what is the weakest thing in terms of the crypto names and look for a reversion there, maybe not in the chips. That's certainly a possibility. I like the fact that Mara is at least holding the gap, but you're absolutely bleeding down. ES, NASDAQ falling. There is Bitcoin. Remember I said that last line was like 101.5? Well, we're pretty much there. So looking for a mean revert as well on one of the crypto names, if not just IBIT itself, which is probably where I'm going to lean. I mean, Mars at that 26 from yesterday that we talked about, but I'm probably just going to go over to IBIT. And if we bounce off 101.5, that gives me my next trade as we go to Adara for sector watch. Something's dragging the ES down.
Yeah, big time.
Like,
the market's been trying to find a sense of direction here today, and so has the sector board. We do have a lot of these tech sectors notably a bit mixed. We have the technology services sector. All of the Meg 7 names in both this sector and electronic technology more or less flat of the day as reflected here on the board. CRM to the downside, a couple other of these tech names to the downside, but both these technology sector a little bit more muted though. AVGO, another good day for this on electronic technology. It also benefited from Marvell's earnings yesterday. Finance sector really strong here with the notable exception of Pfizer, down about 4% here because it was announced that Frank Bisignano, which was their CEO of Pfizer, has been selected by Donald Trump for his administration. So I guess some concerns here about whether or not he will stay with the company. That went down about 4% here. We also have some weakness in producer manufacturing. Health services weak here. UNH leading this group to the downside as we still have investors and I guess the police and public assessing what occurred with United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson, who was unfortunately shot yesterday. Then we have Producer Manufacturing Week, Transportation Week as well. Uber here with that Waymo story, Waymo expanding into Miami, Uber to the downside. Another area of strength here, consumer durables. The rest of the sector a little bit muted, but Tesla trying to lead this group higher. Amazon also strong here in retail trade, but other than those two, Mag 7's a bit weaker, guys.
Thank you, Dara, for that one. And we talk about, flipping over into some shorts, and of course, no shorts. All right, so Uber right now just breaks through 69. So we'll talk all about that one, of course, as we've got it. But we're going to wait to see. I'm going to give it down to that 68 marker. We were able to get something out. We talked about that for 20 or 30 pennies, 130, 120. And now we'll wait to see for lower. I was just using 68 bucks based on sort of the daily chart right here. We bounced off there a couple times. We'll see. I mean, I don't know. To me, it's like, it's a funny thing because like we already know that there's going to be competition in this space, and we already knew what Waymo was all about. So I don't really know exactly why this is such a big move down, but I guess it's just reality, right? I mean, traders don't like competition, and that apparently is what this is, and it is what it is. So we'll wait to see now if Uber can find a base. We did not reload down there. I'm trying to actually get a little more long and a little better prices. I mean, I was thinking about 70s. My average price right now on AMD is this 88 level. I mean, we've been in this name now for quite the long time. And now it's starting to go a little bit upside. So good for us. There it goes, trying to break higher right now on advanced micro devices. So we'll wait to see where this name goes from here. Decent size position. So hopefully, like I keep saying, it will somewhere print us. And get going. So this is going to be a position that I like for the rest of the day. Quick check-in on Robinhood. Robinhood, again, like this was our big mistake, taking that 200 period at $42. But again, fell into 41. We wound up getting out. We had a long. We got out there at 40. We have the long back at 40. We tried again. We get out. And now it's starting to bleed just a little bit more for us on Robinhood. So that name not working out. Looking here at IBIT, oh boy, we are starting to go lower now, 57.8, right? I mean, there's the fail. I feel like we're going to test 100 again. I mean, I don't think there'd be anything wrong with that if it does that. So that looks like an area that we want to look at. We sort of thought that $100,000 would have been around $56. So now we'll be able to get a good judgment on that. So I'm just going to watch IBIT and watch out for the number, because we definitely want to go long when it gets into that area, or maybe not even long, but just wait to see what's going to happen at 100,000. Hopefully we fail the break and then we hit the long back upside. It's okay to miss the trade. That's exactly what we'll do if it does, happen to work out like that for us. We'll wait for an IBIT long near the bottom, hopefully. All right, so that's that. It looks like finally right now, and again, we're waiting for AMD to do this. I'm going to take out another piece right there. There it is. And now we'll wait to see where we go from here. But another out there on AMD. Nicely traded to the upside there. Advanced micro devices. Miss A in the building.
This part of the show is brought to you by Firefly Neuroscience. Firefly Neuroscience is revolutionizing brain health with cutting-edge brain network analytics, powered by the world's most comprehensive EEG database. This technology provides precise insights for treating cognitive disorders like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's, as well as traumatic brain injuries like concussions. With FDA 510K clearance and CE mark approval, Firefly is paving the way for a future where brain health is clear, accessible, and personalized. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Adara. There was just a heavy, heavy candle on Amazon there. It didn't break 220, but as you can see, it got very close, dipped down about 50 pennies, and immediately running back the upside. So what's strong? Amazon at the high of the day. Tesla's not at the high of the day. And again, remember, this is not a short. I even tweeted it out. That's not a short. I wish I could tell you that was a short trade in there, and I was looking to go short, but that was actually a long, and it just coded that as a short sell because I obviously had a take profit out in time. But you are getting close to 370 in VWAP on Tesla, which I do want to respect. And then as mentioned, IBIT's now closing and breaking this trend. I'm gonna work into this. You did get to 103.5. So I'm looking at IBIT obviously, but as we're talking, it's this level in here on Bitcoin, 101.5. That was support on the initial pullback. It was straight to the upside on a 15-minute here, as you can see. overnight, and it was a dip into 101.5. It's the same level that's looking like it wants to hold on IBIT. So that's where I want to be. I can nibble at the 58. I would love to get something in the 57.8 to 57.9 range on this nice little mean reversion. AMD and Intel are at least holding the bid right now, and even Nvidia is trying to hold. The only problem with Nvidia, it's 145. If you can just get back above 145, it can probably drag a few things with it, to be sure. But right now, the market is still undecided. I want to say the market, I mean the NASDAQ. You're doing the exact same dance when I brought it to you last time, where you're just higher lows, lower highs. You're forming a wedge. There's no breakout under, there's no breakout over. So overall, you're still deciding direction here in the NASDAQ. So again, I'm just looking for mean reversion setups because that's a trade idea that I like, without the market picking a direction. So nothing really standing out in terms of predicting where we're going to break this trend, except for the fact I don't think we hang here forever. So scalp your wins, make sure you're taking profit, especially on those weaker names, if you're trying to get that bounce off the low or something along those lines. I do like what's happening in Nvidia. It's exactly the kind of thing that could take this market higher, is Nvidia holding above 145. It's trying right now as we speak.
Look, yeah, I like the 145. And I just want to show you on AMD too, because this is why I'm scalping these out. Like, when it comes up to this area, it's dropped off of 20s now a couple times. So we've talked about this. We're scalping it out right there, trying to hold out for a bigger move. No more scalps now. We'll see if we can get a little bit higher on that one. I want to see about, I don't even have any offers right now. I'm going to put it, but 4250s, 4260s, and then a little bit there. Especially if this market goes, we are happy with sort of our positioning here and what we're in. So Uber, we averaged in a little bit down here at 80s. We're going to give that a little bit more room. For Amazon, I mean, Sharif came over there and started talking a little bit that it was at 220, and it sure was. And now there's the fall back just a little bit here on, oopsies, right there on Amazon. So there's the fallback in there. I mean, we saw this yesterday, basically this exact play, pretty much at this exact time, I believe it was there on Amazon. So yesterday on Amazon, it was 11 o'clock. So that's right now that we are up here at that 220 area. So we got there pretty much to the penny again today. And there's the fall back in. And where did we fall last time? We fell pretty good, all the way back down to 217, 218. So to say that we're going to hold something here, yeah, maybe. The thing about yesterday was the 50-period moving average, and we'd have to back test this to make sure that this comment is going to be right and whatnot. But it looks like right here that the 50-period was already up. Now you're just kind of coming back into it right now. So we can use that as an area of support, maybe even this 218.50 area for support on bids. But look at what this market's doing. Like, not a great idea to be long. Now we're right. Right there, we see the long Intel, long AMD, and look, man, there hasn't been many winning trades at all here today. I'm hoping that the midday can throw those through, because it's been a difficult one for a lot of these big cap names there. And just having a look, and we've all traded the same names, so hopefully on the midday there will give you a little bit more cover and a little more color on some of those small cap rippers. Only 10 minutes to go, and right now it's money talks as we watch Amazon fall $1.30 from that high.
Take a look here at that US dollar, which is right now actually, at least on a wick basis here, bouncing off of previous support earlier this week around that 107.80 area. As of right now, we're just about 10 points above that. So we're about that, just below 106 right now for the DXY. We did get the biggest economic data number today was that initial jobless claims print, which is a little bit higher than expected, 224,000 jobs versus 215,000 jobs expected and prior. Tomorrow, though, we're going to have a huge print, which is non-farm payrolls. We know the October print for non-farm payrolls was shockingly low. The economy had added 12,000 jobs, according to that print. That was below the downwardly revised number for 223,000 jobs in September. It was also below forecasts of 113,000 jobs. So it's also worth noting, though, that that really weak October number was very much impacted by strikes at Boeing, as well as what was going on at the time with hurricanes. So we'll have to wait and see what we get tomorrow. Apparently, the estimate here is 215,000 jobs added. So we'll have to see if that estimate is met here for U.S. non-farm payrolls, guys. Back.
Tesla just broke 370. Well, very briefly. Briefly, it's now into VWAP, so you always make the next trade, like what is going to be the next trade. I want to see it hold that 370 level, close back above it. We'll look for reversion long. IBIT does not hold that prior low. Got to show it to you. And again, everyone's going to obviously have their own style. dipped it back into the 80s, give it to the prior low, it doesn't hold, get out. And that's what I hope to see almost every single time. Like if I take a mean reversion and it breaks my support level, get out. Breaks my support level, get out. That's exactly what could happen here. Like obviously AMD, this one did work, but it's still a 1 for 3, and it's about to lose that prior low. Somehow, magically, Intel is not breaking down anymore. The market just took out the low of the day, and it's now going sideways off 21. So maybe it's caught a bit of a bottom, but I'm just hanging on. I'm not on the bid for any more shares. We're just looking for that VWAP retracement here over in Intel. And if it can do it, fantastic. The fact that it's not falling when the market continues to fall, as far as I'm concerned, looks a little bit good. So we waited for a Tesla to get back down to 370. I'm not reloading AMD. I'm not reloading Intel. We're just going to hold on to what we have. But Tesla at VWAP, after getting out at that high, I think obviously the 370 in VWAP is what most people would have been looking for. And we're here now. So this is the last one that's strong. We'll see if it can hold. Oh, one other thing I wanted to get to. Shoot, we talked about Amazon. We didn't mention this. Meta, LOD. Meta, okay, it's still above its breakout, but this is one that has been trend down the whole way. Amazon's strong. I mean, Apple wasn't that bad, but Meta is literally losing the 610 level any second now. So do watch out for this. We haven't covered all the Mag 7 names, but I didn't want to completely leave this one alone because it was another day that it did make a fresh all-time high. That is a heck of a reversion candle and now trend down over there on Meta. Not trading it, trying to focus back in on Tesla at this 370 and VWAP.
All right. So we reloaded Tesla. We are into Google. I mean, Google just fell in again into the 200 period moving average here, if and when this loads up. So that 73 area, we kind of wicked down into it. So we're going to wait to see if we can hold in and around here, 173.50s or so for Google. Nice trade there. Well, hopefully nice trade. I don't know. We'll see where it goes. All right. So AMD, we did get a decent reload down there. So let's do what we do best, man. Let's start to empty out some of these trades as we got that reload. So that was a good one. We're now long at 70 here. And just trying to, again, exit a little bit. Some exit strategies now on AMD is there it goes. So we saw it again. It held. We took it. Let's see if it wants to work out for us. We're really making some money now, guys. There's Tesla. So, wow, what a good reload on that one, man. Props up there for that. I mean, good call going into VWAP. I'm glad that we saw that, and Neil mentioned it going through 370 there. So we'll take it out now at 3. Okay, there it is. We'll take some out at 371 and change right there. So there's another $1 back in on Tesla Go. All right, man. Holy schnikes. We are doing pretty good right now. There goes Google as well. We're getting a little excited because finally we talked about how there wasn't too many winners to celebrate here today. But right now we can celebrate a little bit more as we'll props it up right now here. Nice move upside. Google trying to go now. AMD finally starting to push a little bit. I'm going to take some more out here at 97 and see if we can't get that one. And then let's see how how far this one wants to go. So again, no shorts here across the board. Might not be a great idea, but there goes Google again, back up to 87, 88. Good little trade here, guys. Nice move there for Google. So we'll give you another one and a little bit of props there for the longs. Here we go, Neil. We're working them out.
That is one heck of a, it goes right back to 370. So 371 right back to 370 instantly. They're on Tesla. But the other thing that just happened there, Nvidia took out 145 and started to climb. So it got through VWAP. At the moment, Tesla was at 370. I didn't have an order breaking out the 145, but it did break out the local high here at the quarters. I grabbed that. If we lose 145, I am out. So that is a new position. And again, the market, and I keep coming back to the same thing here. Stay disciplined. That's how you can have a great day today is just make sure you have a rule of action for getting in. Make sure that you adhere to your stops. And ultimately, we don't end up holding underneath the lows. It's still kind of the same action. You wick the bottom on the NASDAQ, and you're right back in holding the middle. So I kind of want to lean back into if I think something is strong, it has a setup, I'm going to stick with the game plan. Obviously, we only took a breakout trade in Nvidia. It was never low enough that I like to dip by, but now you're consolidating on a break. This is the kind of move I think Nvidia can get back at least to the 106. It abjectly failed 106 earlier today, I know, because I was in a breakout at 146. So if we can get back up there, I like to scalp into that level. Sometimes the second break is better. We can hold a piece. A lot of times it's better to be long into a big breakout level. That way, if it fails to break, you don't have to worry about it. Let's see if Nvidia can make that charge into the upside and get to that high of 146. And as everyone mentioned, that Amazon, what's up with that? I'll get rid of that wick a little bit later. That Amazon hefty pullback off that 220 into VWAP, but it's also marching right back into the high. So trying to claw this market back up. You have Tesla holding VWAP. You've got Nvidia now above VWAP. You've got Amazon trying to get back into those highs. Is that going to be enough to claw the Nasdaq back? We'll see. I mean, AMD is doing its best as well, but it's not going to move the market. These other names will.
Yeah. All right, guys. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. I mean, we just got out of basically 35% of our Google as it rips up into 174. So we went long there at 68. We punched the level rate with you guys. Went against us, or not 68, 70s. And went against us a little bit, right back in, and a nice one right there. AMD, more outs basically at these levels. It's because we got the reload down there. So now we're noticing as well that we haven't really broken too much above. I'm going to take another piece. Look, all we're trying to do, like I said, man, is just trying to scalp out some of these names because we're underneath VWAP, we're underneath everything, and we're just going to find out what's going on now with the market because it's the midday. We should be able to get a little bit of a run here. We may not. Let's go over to MSTR. Oof, right there. Shout out to some guy in the chat here who just mentioned that. Oof. Right there, runs with bulls. Yeah, MSTR today runs with oofs to the downside there. And again, it's not, I mean, this is what's going to happen, right? We open up the day here on Bitcoin in and around that 103.5 area. And it's been a rough go for Bitcoin today, although it hasn't been this rough. This is straight down. Like IBIT this morning. What's going on here? Okay, so Tesla just fell through again. So that's fine. So I can see Neil's long on Tesla now. We can talk about that in a minute. But look at I
just covered.
Okay, so they're long 37. Oh, you're not in it.
I just broke VWAP. I just got out.
Okay, so got out on that there on Tesla. So I guess what did it do there? So it broke 370 there. It goes right into 368. So we're long right now on Tesla. Let's see what winds up happening. Oh, they're breaking 368. Nice move down there. I'm going to get back long. I don't know. I didn't mean to get stopped out there. Go ahead.
I did. So we got the bounce. So the first time it gave the clean block. The second time it doesn't. It loses VWAP. I'm going to wait for, and shout out to Cling Daddy. Appreciate it. It's just a matter of, let it actually set up a trade. The breakout trade, when it made an all-time high, the 52-week high at 62, that's a great setup. The VWAP dip, great. Now that it's underneath VWAP, okay, well, make a higher low, make a rounded bottom. I need something that indicates to me that it's going to do what I want it to do. Nvidia can be an example of that. Breakout trade, okay. Breakout trade, double top, fine. We're going to stop that one out when it doesn't work. Now here you got higher lows, breaking VWAP, consolidation above a prior high with a bit of a trend up with higher highs and that kind of thing. That was a reason to get into Nvidia. If we lose 145, I can jump out of it. So just want something else to set up here for Tesla. It's already 11. 11 o'clock, as Sean mentioned. Yeah. So we got to get you guys on over. We'll be back. Obviously at 2 o'clock, and we'll see if Bitcoin can hold 100,000 in the next few hours. But we got the Bash brothers locked and loaded and ready to go,
right.
And they do much more bashing than you see in the NBA.
The NBA is a joke of a league, by the way.
They post up. There was some posting up last night. That's all I'm getting at. But nobody threw any punches. It was just.
I was gonna say the game is so soft.
Everyone's all puffing up and nobody did anything.
Like 50 shots a game. It's like it's not even honestly.
It's all threes now.
Like when's the last time, honestly? I sent my parents to the Raptors game on the weekend. That was the last time I watched. That was like the only time all year, pretty much, that I watched them, just so I could cheer them on for them. And by the way, right now, Tesla is back in the money. We're long here at 368 and change. But anyways, we'll talk more about sports.
We'll talk about sports later and bag on the NBAs. We send you guys to the midday. Go get them.
Let them finish. What is up, beautiful?